Noble ones. Hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure to have you here. How did you like my new intro? Hello, noble ones. So today we've got a lot of things to cover, a lot of ground to cover. I prepared a bit of a big presentation, and we've got a Red Bull, non-sponsored. How you guys doing? And by the way, what you see on the title and the thumbnail is just one of the topics we're going to cover today, but we're going to start with that right away. Thank you so much for joining the stream, guys. Really appreciate you. Let's kill the music with flair. All right, so for today's stream, because it's one of those streams that is a little bit of a focused topic, if you will, for the first part of the stream, I'm going to sort of focus on this video and this content creator, fellow content creator by the name of Professor Dave. Now, there is a channel. I'm just going to jump right into it, guys. There is a channel called Professor Dave Explains. Many of you, of course, know him. And on this channel, he posted this video 7 days ago. Professor Dave is a stupid, toxic jerkface. Now, this is a response to many content creators who have, over the years, called out the fact that he is toxic. Now, given that's not the only thing that people say about him, people call him all sorts of stuff. And, you know, I think it's fine that he defends or strikes back. But when it comes to me, I did make a video about him, so that's why I'm included in this, whatever the heck you want to call it, in this disgrace of a video. In fact, to be specific, I'm included on 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 51 seconds in, which is where we're going to begin. We're going to start. We're going to review how he has addressed this. Not only me calling him toxic, which I did. I did say that he's toxic, and I said that he's angry. That's it. I was actually quite mild on my presentation, particularly if you compare it to how I have addressed other creators in the space. And when it comes to him, I didn't attack him, I didn't insult him, I didn't call him names, I didn't say he was an idiot or stupid or ignorant or whatever the heck litany of insults that he instead normally uses to the people who disagree with him. I didn't do that. I just said, guys, I don't know, the way he speaks is very toxic, even in the comments, how he looks down on people, kind of puts me off. That's all I said, but apparently it was sufficient for him to lose sleep. Really hurt his feelings, I suppose. Anyways, he included me in here. What's fascinating about this, which is what I really want to begin, sorry about that. There we go, we don't need the logo again. One thing I really want to start by saying this. Logics, okay? Let's mention logics very briefly. So from a logical standpoint, if you're annoyed that people call you toxic and you want to debunk us all, you want to say you are all wrong, okay? If this were you, then you're annoyed that people call you toxic and you want to debunk all of them, you want to prove them all wrong. How would you be on the video you make? You would be polite, right? Because if I say Professor Dave is toxic, and then he makes a video, and he's polite, he just attacks my arguments, no ad hominem attacks, I would have to apologize then now, wouldn't I? I would have to say, you know what, maybe I still don't like the way he talks to people, like in the comments, but whatever, that's his channel. I did call him toxic, but he was very polite. I have to apologize, guys. I apologize profusely. I was wrong. He was very polite. He was very civil. Because, I mean, if he wants to debunk people who call him toxic and makes a video and he acts toxic, wouldn't it follow reason then that we are all correct about you? Well, we're going to tally a little bit today. We're going to write down We're going to see how many times this guy insults me on this video. And you know me, I don't like usually insulting people, but once you start insulting me, I'll give him a 5 insults head start, after which I'll start insulting back, because at the end of the day, I am still a Sicilian, so that's what we do. That's what we do. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right into the presentation. Okay, so when it comes to this video, Professor Dave, we're going to open it, and we're going to go into the section where I said that the thing begins with me, which is, as I was saying, one moment, 1351. So 1351, there you go. Okay. Before we start to listening to him, I want to say this. On this video, there will be 3 major sections. We'll be divided in 3 major sections. The first section is the one where we will demonstrate without any shadow of a doubt that Professor Dave doesn't do any research when it comes to the people he attacks. So he will call you names. He will say, you're a bigot, you're a racist, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi, you are all sorts of idiots, ignorant, you have no say are scientifically illiterate, you don't know anything. He will use all sorts of insults. But he doesn't research you, which means that we will demonstrate, and of course we'll use me as an example to demonstrate that he will make statements about me, but all of those statements will be factually wrong. And for those of you who watch me, you will know it immediately. The moment he says something, be like, no way, didn't even do any research before making statements. So that's one thing, kind of hurts his credibility when he makes statements as if they are fact, but then they are factually wrong because he didn't even look into it. We will also demonstrate that he doesn't do any research when it comes to the subject matters that he addresses from an academic standpoint. So we will demonstrate that, and this is more going to be for those who watch him. So if you watch him and you think, yeah, he's rough around the edges, but his information is good, fine, but he doesn't research it. I'll demonstrate that. That's going to be section 1. Then section 2, it's going to be interesting the way we're going to do it, because I'll demonstrate that he lies, hence the thumbnail and title of this video, that he uses selective editing to manipulate his audience perception. So once again, how much can you trust him after I prove to you that he will make statements about me once again, but then we'll see that he selectively, conveniently cut out the part where I would have proved him wrong. But that's not going to be the major part. The major part is going to be section 3. But because it is important to me that as many people as possible see what I'm about to show you, which is a smoking gun, guys, you have no idea what I found. You have no idea. I'm actually going to move section 3 before section 2. Section 3 is going to be, we're going to do it first, a part where he calls me a liar. He says that I lied about something, and then he uses that premise. I'm a liar, I lied about whatever it is that you'll see. Hence, and then he will use that premise to come to a conclusion. He will say, so this is why he did this, whatever it is that you'll see. Problem is that I've got receipts. I came prepared, and I will demonstrate he was wrong. I didn't lie. Yet, he very confidently stated that mine was a lie, and then built a whole castle of cards upon that. So the reality is that once we get to that part, and I really, really strongly suggest you to watch until that part at least, because once we get to that part, and you will see it, I'll prove it. I'll prove it. At this point, even if you hate me, even if you hate my guts, you're like, Metatron, I can't stand you, I hate your voice, and I cannot stand your long hair. Fine. But you have to admit, man, the guy was wrong. You did not lie. And I've got receipts. Took me some time to find them, but I found them. So once I prove that, then we'll have to ask ourselves, what else does Professor Dave state confidently and arrogantly as if it's a matter of fact, and yet he was wrong? We will have to ask ourselves this question. So without further ado, this is the introduction. Let's jump right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, the science communicator, Professor Dave. He's not a professor, by the way, no. Let's go. We need more volume. Okay.
Reasonable person should behave. Continuing with this concept of defending cults, here's another douchebag named Metatron.
I find it funny that he says that I defend cults, but to his credit, I do have the long hair of a cultist leader, so I'll let that one slip.
Lashing out at me with another Professor Dave is toxic video. Shall we see if this tool has anything new to add?
Yeah. The 2 major issues that I have with... The reason why I'm pausing now, Remember this. You know how I said 2 major issues that I have? It's important to remember. 2 major issues that I have. He chose to show this and cut what happened 3 seconds before because he then needed to lie about me. Keep this in mind. We'll come back to this.
Shall we see if this tool has anything new to add?
The 2 major issues that I have with the presenter of this channel, Professor Dave, are the following. 1, the overall aggressive nature of some of his videos. Today we're going to watch one of these. And 2, the overall attitude that he seems to have in the comment section under his videos, particularly towards those people that appear to disagree with him. Now, given to his credit, some of his commentators that he responds to are rude to him. However, I get those too. And I'm not trying to say that I am better than him or anything. I'm just saying I've never seen anyone literally spend who knows what amount of time insulting people and talking down to people in the comment section. And I was quite mild, honestly. Yes, I am live right now. I was quite mild, honestly, in the way I was like giving him credit and all that, but fine. Okay, let's continue. And he also does it sometimes unfairly to people that were just pointing out maybe something they didn't like, or perhaps they didn't understand something.
Nope, I absolutely do not insult people who point out that they didn't understand something or asked an innocuous question.
We'll get back to this.
You're lying. That's why you removed all context from...
I did not remove all context from this. If you remember, we can rewind 3 seconds if you want, but we just watched it. I specifically said, given to his credit, some of the people, many of the people that give him, that he insults, they were rude to him first. That is precisely what context is. I gave context. And all I said is that sometimes some people just ask a legitimate question or just say they didn't like the video, and he lashes out onto them too. But I did give context. I exactly gave that context. So what is the context that I didn't give, Professor Dave?
Asked an innocuous question. You're lying. That's why you removed all context from almost every single comment you showed. All of these people I'm responding to are pathetic trolls whining about a video they didn't watch and spewing vitriol at me about the video.
I gave that context. I did say that it's true that to give him credit that some of these people were really rude. I did say that.
Because it hurts their feelings that I expose a fraud they fell for on the internet. Every fucking time.
Right.
All of you crybaby snowflakes that make these videos or complain about me on Reddit have yet to
on Reddit? Me on Reddit? Man, I think I'm already establishing the fact that this guy doesn't really know what he's talking about, right? If he thinks that I am on Reddit. Man, my name, if I set foot on Reddit, I would be set on fire. I would become a flame ablazed immediately. Holy moly on Reddit. So anyways, there are already a lot of things to unpack. I am seeing the super chats, and I will at one point take a little time out and we'll read all of the super chats. Right now, I kind of don't want to interrupt it, but thank you again for the support. We'll get back to all of you. I will not skip any. So anyways, yeah, me on Reddit, whatever. Anyways, the statement he made was very important here because I can already debunking that. That's going to be the first one. But before, I'm going to let him finish the point. Let's go.
Show snowflakes that make these videos or complain about me on Reddit have yet to show a single solitary example of someone who politely brought up good faith legitimate criticism only for me to reply in this manner. You can't show a single example because you don't have one.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so let's have a look at this video. This is a debate that he had live with James Tour Debate. Now, of course, someone could, and this is going to show exactly that, the thing that he says he never does. Moreover, it does happen in his comment section too, and I will, since I said challenge accepted, review all of his comments in the next few days, maybe give me a couple of weeks, to find those. Problem is he deletes a lot of them. So you will find comments, even here, there will be comments. I had an argument with Dave in the comment section once. He called me dumb and gullible, so I gave him evidence. He then deleted the thread. So there are a lot of people that say he deletes. Of course, it's not going to be easy to find those, but I'll still find them because he has so many, and I've seen them myself. But let's have a look at this. So this is a debate. He went to this location to debate this guy on chemistry. There are a lot of people who actually went there to listen to him, and to kind of make their mind, right? Well, let's see how he treats these people. I've got a few stamps since he says he never does this. If someone has a question, someone has a polite disagreement, or maybe someone just agrees with the other speaker, doesn't even say anything against him. He only does it when there is vitriol and rudeness towards him, right? Okay, timestamp 1:14. Let's see how he treats the audience.
None of you people know this research. Wow. Lies and cheers. Amazing. Lies and cheers.
None of you people know this research because they're agreeing with the other speaker. Minute 1:24.
That two prime linkages don't matter. As though you people have any fucking clue what any of us are talking about. Oh, I know about RNA. No, you don't.
How do you know they don't know about RNA, by the way? So he's here now looking down, just like I said he was, on the people that actually paid, took their time, drove there to listen to this debate. He's treating them like they're below him. Did they? Yes, there were a couple of boos, but I didn't see anyone saying, "You're an idiot, you're an idiot." I didn't see that.
You have no clue what either of us are saying. Deal with it.
And they say, get to the question. 152. 152. Check this out.
You asked me one specific... I don't care what any of you guys are saying. None of you...
I don't care what any of you guys are saying. Man, I thought you were okay with people asking questions or if they didn't understand something. He just said he doesn't care what any of the people are saying. Let's continue. I'm not done. Let's go. Let's see.
None of
Look.
you're flailing asked here. Me one specific... I don't care what any of you guys are saying. None of you have any capacity to read this literature. And
None of you has any capacity to read this literature. Brother, you have a bachelor's degree in chemistry. You don't have 5 PhDs. You're not the smartest guy in the room.
You're just blindly believing James. You have no idea what he's talking about. Okay, James, so check it out. You're
243.
So we don't have a lot of time, so it really is going to...
Question. You people are idiots.
You people are idiots, is how he's treating the audience. All right. Is that enough, Dave, to prove that you absolutely do, in fact, what you claimed you don't do, that I wasn't going to be able to find this? And he does this in the comment section all the time. It's always a matter of, this is how it is, because I say so. You don't have the intellectual capacity to even know whether what I'm saying is right or wrong, so you just have to accept it, and I'm just going to call you an idiot for it. All right, now that I've done that, this is nothing. You've seen nothing, by the way. Let's continue.
Because this is not legitimate criticism. This is clickbait, and you're trying to make your case appear more credible. But I'll save you the suspense.
All right, so now we enter the section where we're going to demonstrate that Professor Dave, when he makes statements about people, he hasn't researched them one bit. Because there you go. Now he's going to character assassination attempt, and he's going to try and undermine my argument by telling his audience, look at this tool, look at this guy. All right, let's see what he says about me, and let's see if it checks out. If it's a real criticism, I'll take it. He could say, Metatron is condescending. I'll accept it. It's fine. I am a little arrogant sometimes. I know something I need to work on. I wouldn't say it's not true, but let's see.
Meta clickbait, and you're trying to make your case appear more credible.
Please.
But I'll save you the suspense. Metatron makes shitty archaeology content.
Metatron makes shitty archaeology content. I'm sorry, what? Wait. So, hold on a minute. All right. Had you done any research, and I'm going to keep continuing using this word research, and you'll see why, because he's going to say something in a second. Had you done any research on my channel, you would have known that out of 1,000 videos, probably like 12 are about archaeology. The vast majority of my content is about history and culture, with some videos on linguistics, languages, Latin, a little bit of video game, and occasional politics. And whatever the heck I feel like talking about. On that day, I'm a little bit of a variety channel, one could say, particularly in the latest. And then a few React videos. I'm not a channel that makes shitty archaeological... Well, shitty is, I guess, is his own opinion. I can take that, fine, I don't care. But I'm not an archaeology channel. What are you on about? So that already, that you don't even know... I know what kind of videos he makes. I looked into him. He has a lot of videos when he does fraud and debunking. This guy's a fraud and this guy's a liar. He does all of those character assassination videos, which are the ones that get him money and views. Then he has video tutorials on Latin. I looked into them. I'll make a couple of dedicated videos because the guy has zero phonetic training and his Latin pronunciation is terrible. So we'll look into that. He has got a few videos on Italian. I haven't watched those yet. We'll see. And then he has got videos on chemistry, obviously. And then he has videos on Trump, how dumb Christians are. He's got videos against conservatives. He's got videos that, to own the chuds. That's his channel, etc. He's got videos on transgender rights and transgender, biology and whatnot. That's what he does. I can name the type of content he does. He doesn't even know I'm a history-focused channel. That's where we are. But check this out. That's the first thing he says about me. Ready for the second one. It's going to be great. Check this out.
But I'll save you the suspense. Metatron makes shitty archaeology content alongside cookie-cutter Own the Libs videos, and he's butthurt that I exposed the godfather of the pseudo-archaeology cult, Graham Hancock.
Okay, so I do cookie-cutter Own the Libs videos. Once again, this guy hasn't researched me for 15 minutes. Because while it is true that sometimes I do make videos where I don't know if I would say own the libs, but I do make videos where I debunk radical leftist nonsense. Absolutely I do. And you make videos on own the Christian chuds. So at the end of the day, why is he saying this? Virtual signaling to his radical left audience that then will say, oh, Metatron does own the libs. That's what it is. Obviously, it's virtual signaling. But had he actually done honest research, which people like him never do, he would have known that I have, over the years, made videos to debunk both sides when it comes to history. I've done it. I can prove it. I've proven it so many times, but these people don't care about that. They don't care. I've debunked, if someone said nonsense, I debunk it. I don't care if we have the same politics, or if we are both Christians, or if you're an atheist and I'm a Christian. I don't care. If it's nonsense, I debunk it. I've proven this so many times. But people like him, they don't look into you before they make statements about you. But I loved the third one, because he says that I'm butthurt that he debunked this, I guess, my overlord, Graham Hancock. And this once again proves to you without any shadow of a doubt that this guy makes statements about people, including me, without researching, because I disagree with Graham Hancock. Anyone who had spent 5 minutes into clicking any of the videos where the face of Mr. Hancock is on my channel knows that every time I say, hey, the theory is fascinating, but he hasn't convinced me, I don't believe it, I don't think it's true, I don't believe it. I say it all the time. So what's funny is that we actually agree when it comes to Hancock. It's just that because I don't put words like Hancock is a liar, is a fraud, is a clown, is an idiot. I don't do that because I like being polite. So I will attack the argument when it comes to Hancock. But I prefer being polite about it. Then he looks at the thumbnail and thinks that I'm someone who actually believes or supports or pushes Graham Hancock's theory when it comes to the global civilization that happened, and then there was the global event. That's insane. How can someone make a statement like that, saying that I am somehow a supporter of Hancock? It means he didn't research me. But let's continue.
And he's going to whine about the fact that I did that for 40 minutes. To be clear, Graham is not an archaeologist.
All right, so now we are back to the part. Was for the previous video that I was reacting, but I wanted to keep this in mind. If he makes so many wrong statements about me, can you really trust him when he makes statements about other people? If you're someone in his audience and you watch him and you're like, oh, he's calling this guy a racist, is he? He's calling this guy a bigot, is he? He's calling this guy a white supremacist, a radical, a crazy, someone, an illiterate, scientific illiterate. Can we trust anything that comes from his mouth at this point, after he has clearly demonstrated he didn't research 1 second of what my content is and where I stand when it comes to these issues? Listen to this now, because this is a word that will come back.
And he's going to whine about the fact that I did that for 40 minutes. To be clear, Graham is not an archaeologist. He has a bachelor's degree in sociology, which does not even remotely qualify him to challenge well-established archaeological knowledge. He's never been on a dig.
Interesting. What is Professor Dave's academic background, though? Because he has a bachelor in chemistry. I'll double check, but if that's true, then wouldn't that apply to him as well?
Yep. No, dumbass, it doesn't apply.
That was like insult number 4, I think, or 5, is it? Or I'll give him one more and then I'll start. Okay, so My critique here was that he says that Hancock doesn't have a degree in archaeology, and so he shouldn't talk or disagree with archaeologists. That's exactly what he said. So I said, but you have a degree in chemistry, a bachelor's degree in chemistry, so how can you then talk about archaeology? It's really not that weird of a statement to say. But he says that doesn't apply to him. Let's see why.
To me, because I'm not the one spewing propaganda that contradicts and slanders the entire archaeological community. That someone doesn't have any experience in archaeology is only relevant if that person is mouthing off about how archaeologists are all closed-minded idiots who don't actually do any real science.
Okay, cool. So it's actually worse the way he presented this, because initially I was going to say he's a hypocrite because he says if you don't have the degree, you can't talk about this thing. No, he says in my case it's fine because Hancock shouldn't do it because he slanders people and calls them stupid and imbeciles. But that's exactly what you do. You slander people and call them all sorts of names. So even more so then, if we were to apply your own rigor onto your own persona, then you are absolutely disqualified then. I personally think anyone should be able to call out anyone. I don't have a problem with that. But he says, no, when it's me, it's fine. Even though he's doing the exact same thing. Let's continue.
It doesn't apply if you're someone like me who simply shares well-substantiated introductory information about a field, be it archaeology or any other, which was specifically curated in conjunction with experts in that field who are always credited in the description sections of tutorials they contributed to. Got it?
Okay, got it? Okay, he's going to say now, he's going to make a statement. We're going to use this. You know how many times I mentioned the word research? You'll see why. Personally, I think you can challenge. I challenge oftentimes massive professors, even though they, in theory, are the experts, but they're pushing politics, they're pushing messages, they're twisting the truth, they're doing stuff for stupid reasons. And so at that point, it doesn't matter. Anyone can challenge them.
What are these stupid things, I wonder?
I just said it. They twist the truth. I just said it.
Are the politics they are pushing? Let me guess, pronouns in the Twitter bio or some dumb shit like that?
I do agree that pronouns in the bio is dumb shit. I do agree with that. But no, I actually said it. I said it. I said when they twist the truth. Now, if you want to know specifically what that means, you know what you could do, Professor Dave? Research. Check this wording now. Academia used to have the complete last say on everything, but now we have the internet and people can do research. And when it's one professor who is a liar, because some professors are great, some professors are liars. When a professor like Simon Elliott lies for political reasons, I even give him a name, Simon Elliott, and who knows for what other reason, notoriety, selling books. When they do that, now you have an army of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that can go unite all together, do research, and then because it's a lie, it's easy to debunk. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, that's why we go with the consensus of the scientific community, genius. I debunk the lies and pseudoscience of tenured professors all.
I would like to explain now, because he clearly, at this point, I'm going to say back what he's going to say to me in a minute. I think he's scientifically literate and academically literate. Because at the end of the day, that's not how it works. He is presenting a dogmatic view that it's not part of how science works as a method. He says, scientific community makes this statement and you can't challenge it. That's not how it works. Einstein was challenged. A true scientist, a true academic, wants his statements, his theories, his hypotheses to be challenged. It's how it works.
The time. James Tour, Avi Loeb, Dennis Noble, and I'm able to do this by referencing a mountain of research performed by the global scientific community that proves them wrong. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research because I'm wrong. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research because I'm wrong. I'm not the one doing research. I'm referencing research because I'm a science community. I'm not the one doing research.
Okay, he's not self-admitted. This is a confession. This is a confession we've got here, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't do research. Well, I noticed that when it comes to me. You never researched anything and spewed all sorts of poisonous vomit that with the arrogance and confidence, though, so that, as I say, he doesn't research people. He doesn't research people. Huge cell phone. He doesn't research people. We know. But now he also stated that he doesn't research the subjects that he... So, if you think for any second, no, but I watched a video of his, and the information was good. Exactly. It's not his. He's parroting what someone else says. He doesn't do the research. Cell phone. Now we're going to get to the next part. I told you that I came with receipts, and we still haven't got to the best part. Wait until he says that he's a science communicator. We're going to get there very soon. He's a science communicator, he says. And then he helps the public see who is lying. And then we'll connect to the strongest argument, the smoking gun. And then I want to see if people are still going to believe him. At that point, I don't know, you're in a cult. Because I'm going to prove it right now. Let's go.
I'm referencing research because I'm a science communicator. It's my job to use science to show the public who is lying about science.
Okay, so this is the part where we connect now to, we need to go a little further, and we're going to 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 26 seconds. You're not going to believe your eyes. You're not going to believe your eyes right now. You're going to be like, I can't believe that you annihilated him like this. And I'm like, I know. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really do. So, did you just hear it? What's his job as a science communicator? We'll get back on that self-title. But as a science communicator, his job is to tell the public who is lying about science. My question is, how can you do that correctly and figure out who is lying? If you call someone a liar, if you point the finger and say, this is a lie, but then you were wrong. What else are you wrong then about? This is the part where he now accuses me of lying. Check this out. You're going to love it. Check this out. I was reacting to his video with the Flint Dibble situation. Look at this.
You need to spend a good amount of time here, so let's dive in.
Okay, I need to stop it here because I always get... So I used to get claimed by Rogan. Maybe I wouldn't get claimed now because I told you I think he did whitelist me.
And that's where he bows out, claiming something about copyright, which is total bullshit.
Okay, so what I claimed about copyright, I said I could get copyright claimed by Joe Rogan if I keep watching his video, which features Joe Rogan with the Flint Dibble Hancock interview, so I'm going to have to stop. He says, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. So I lied. All right, let's see on the basis of what. Let's see how he defends that.
Since my video that shows bows out, claiming something about copyright, which is total bullshit, since my video that shows huge portions of multiple Rogan episodes is fully monetized. He stops the video at 11 minutes 20 seconds out of a 2-hour video, which means he only covers me setting up the relevant context for the video and then stops. All he did was whine and nitpick about totally irrelevant bullshit, and he stopped before the hour plus of me proving that Graham is a fraud. Pretty fucking convenient, isn't it?
Okay, so this is the best part. I can't wait to show you. So, first and foremost, how does he prove that what I said was bullshit?
Just total bullshit, since my video...
Because his video didn't get copy claimed. Had you done research once in your life, Professor Dave, you would have known that differently from your video, my video about you that you watched was an extract from a stream. Because you can see that I'm interacting with chat. Just like today, this is going to get edited and then it will be uploaded. When I said that, I was live streaming. So what that means is that the fact that you didn't get copy claimed on a regular upload, which by the way, I do sometimes anyways, but it's irrelevant. It's not this, oh, I just proved him wrong. It's irrelevant because I was live. You would have known that had you done research. So, is it bullshit though? Could still be bullshit. Well, no, it's not. And I have proof. So this is the live. I found the exact seconds to prove it to all of you. This is the stream. It's, let me see, Joe Rogan Experience Hancock. Okay. So I'm looking for, there we go. So check this out. I think I'm not going to, wait. So I was reacting to that specific interview. It's another stream that happened before. Family. Stream suspended again. Stream suspended again. Did you hear me? The non-Greek Cleopatra, they made the entire family stream suspended again. Okay, well, I think I'm not going to have to continue this on YouTube. Look. It's an AI doing this. Very likely. Yeah, you'll look! Proof on screen, ladies and gentlemen. He said this is bullshit. Not only said that this... Look, read it. I actually showed the internals on YouTube. I was reacting to that specific interview. Look at the chat on the right. Again, it's doing all this. Again, question mark. See what happens? It's like so many people are clearly showing stream suspended again. So this is proof. And you can read in yellow the system telling me, error, your stream has been temporarily blocked because we detected video belonging to someone else. right? And you can keep reading. If you plan to continue, please ensure that the content owner has added your channel to their allow list, which is exactly what I said. I said, did he add me to the white list, Joe Rogan? I don't know. So I better stop this stream right now. He said, this doesn't happen. I just proved it to you. This is proof, Professor Dave. This is proof. And the problem with this is that, I mean, it's here, guys, for the world to see. But he said that this is bullshit. And not only he said that this was bullshit, but then he used this foundational premise. Oh, Metatron said he's stopping the live stream because of copyright claim, but that's bullshit. No. The reality is, so that was his conclusion. The conclusion was, the reality is that I was about to debunk Hancock and he didn't want me to. That's why he used this excuse of suspending of the stream getting suspended. But here's the problem, Professor Dave. Even in the most basic rudimentary form of logics, if your premise is faulty, so shall be your conclusion. So your conclusion is a castle of cards that you have built on something that you perceive to be a lie, and because you consider yourself to be the ultimate authority on who's lying and who is not, you thought confidently that you had owned me with that one. But now I proved you wrong. So what are you going to do about it? Two options. This is my challenge now. Two options. Option number one, you can admit fault. I mean, he has a gigantic ego, so it's not like I'm expecting that to happen. But let's say that he does do it. And he says, you know what? I hate Metatron. He's an awful bigot, far right, whatever you want. But on this one, he was right and I was wrong. If he does that, it's a little bit of a double-edged blade, because he said that his job as a science communicator is to tell the public who is lying. Given, he said, tell the public who is lying about science, but that's even harder. If you can't do that here on something so basic that requires almost no research, just a little bit of research, if you fail to do this here, then what else that you call a lie, and who else that you have called a liar so confidently and arrogantly, may I add, wasn't actually lying? That's what happens if you admit it. And if you don't admit it, and you don't admit, you know what, Metatron was right, he proved receipts, he proved it on screen, I was wrong. If you don't say that, then we have to beg the question, what else does he not admit that he called it a lie, there was proof, but he ignored it because he has too much of an ego? You know what I call that, Davide? I call it checkmate. Let's get back. We are both of Italian origins. Well, I'm 100% Italian, but yeah. Okay. Now we can return to the section where we were, that I jumped at one point, because we need to kind of continue where we were. So let me get... And by the way, I will get to all of your super chats. I did see them. I just want to finish this presentation. All right. So now that we have seen this, let's get back to 1829. 1829, because there is still more, guys, believe it or not. Science communicator, let's go.
I'm referencing research because I'm a science communicator. It's my job to use science to show the public who is lying about science, whether it's a tenured professor or a high school dropout. I don't discriminate one bit. Graham is a fraud who slanders the entire archaeological community on a regular basis. So why are you getting your panties in a twist that I expose and debunk him? Funny, huh?
He's just some guy who sells bullshit for cash, something which is very well demonstrated by his 2019 book, America Before. This is 600 pages of baseless, outlandish tales regarding lost civilizations having psychic powers, while claiming the ivory tower...
Obviously, that's nonsense.
...for academics reject his bold new ideas because they're entrenched in dogma and thus resistant to new paradigms. Why would we listen to archaeologists about archaeology instead of some clueless jerk?
He does sound really mad, though, so even if he's making some points that make sense, I mean, yeah, if because again, I have to double check. If he, in his book... Did you notice that I said, if it's true that Hancock claims that these people had telekinesis and telepathy, I said if, because I need to double check it. That's how I operate. It's how I've always done it. I don't just take people's words without checking. I check. That's what I do. I research. Book said that they have telekinesis and telepathy, then I would be like, oh, I don't know, man, I'm gonna need proof of that. So I would agree with Professor Dave, but the way he's saying it sounds so angry that I don't know, it's putting me off a little bit. Is it just me?
Sorry, how do I sound so angry? I'm just talking. And why shouldn't I be angry about disgusting frauds who polarize the public against the scientific community for profit? And you're pretending I didn't just show you that the book objectively says what I said it does.
You see? So he says, I put this screenshot. Why are you questioning it? Brother, you're not the ultimate authority, and whatever you say is because you say so. The public, me included, and your audience, doesn't have to just accept your words as gospel. Just because you saw this, who said this? What is this? From what? Where is this from? You didn't show me the book. I need the book, because anyone can manufacture this. I'm not saying differently from you. I'm not calling you a liar differently from you. But I could say, how do I know? Because I don't know where this page is from. It could be someone who twisted it. He changed the meaning. Who knows? So yes, I don't have to just accept something, nor does the public, because you say so. You're not the emperor of the world, and you're definitely not the highest level of academia, as he seems like he thinks he is.
You're pretending I didn't just show you that the book objectively says what I said it does. It's nothing but tone policing, even when there is nothing to tone police. He is fabricating out of nowhere that I...
On the tone policing, by the way, he can speak however he wants. I don't care. At that point, I'm like, yeah, freedom of speech, say whatever you want. On the slanderous stuff, maybe there is a problem there, but it's for those people who are being slandered to consider. I don't particularly care. I'm just sharing something as someone who was watching some of his videos because I was interested. And I literally just said, but it really must have really hurt his feelings. I mean, he must have a little bit of a thin skin at this point. But it really hurt his feelings when I said, I don't know, guys. I mean, what he's saying is making sense, but the way he says this stuff kind of putting me a little bit off. That's all I said.
I'm angry and pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts.
Okay, that's it. We need to re-listen to this one. That's another thing. That's the lie. And I'm going to show you that he uses now selective editing to manipulate his own audience. Check this out. Look at what he said.
Nowhere that I am angry and pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts I just provided.
So I am using the accusation of calling him angry, or I guess toxic, to discredit the information or the facts that he is presenting, right? You know why his audience would have known that that's not true? It's because at the very beginning of my video about him, the very, very beginning of my video about him, let me see if I can find the exact minute. I do have it saved, so we can check it out. In fact, let me open it separately. But do you remember when I told you, keep in mind that he is starting the video with a clip of mine where I say the two problems that I have with him. But I told you there was something right before that he removed. He removed it because he wanted to make this statement. Here it is. On minute, let me see. 1 second. On minute 18, I told you I came prepared. Minute 18. All right, so this is the thing. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Should be around here. If not, I thought it was minute 18. Oh, 1:08. Sorry. I mean, I came prepared, but not really, did I? Here we go. I found it. All right. So, to use this perhaps unfairly to people that were just pointing out already during a live stream that I made a few days ago. Generally speaking, for what I've seen up to this point, the quality of the information that this person presents online is pretty good. I said that. He cut it out. The quality on the information that this guy presents is generally good. And I haven't seen too many things that I would disagree with, although then again, I haven't seen too many things that I would disagree with. We checked out a handful of videos. However, there are two problems that and that's the clip that he starts. So he selectively removed from the very clip that he used, so he saw it, it's at the beginning of the stream, he selectively removed the part where I said, I don't disagree with the information, I think generally the information is correct. Why did he do that? To manipulate his audience into believing then this accusation of his. It's
pathetic. And pretending that should be enough to discredit the objective facts I just provided.
What? How do people even follow this? This is slimy. I thought you were all about the truth. Why did you cut that out? Because you knew that had you left it there, even your audience would have been like, well, I don't know about that, Dave. I mean, he did say that your information is fine for what he saw. So clearly he's not trying to use the fact that you're objectively angry and toxic to discredit the facts. Then he cut it. Professor Dave, ladies and gentlemen, the science communicators. Let's continue.
It's pathetic.
Then we get to the lesser characters, serving somewhat as the comic relief. Dan Richards is a clown who has been cashing in on the pseudo-archaeology grift as of late.
Man, he's going all in, isn't he? I don't know if I'm calling him a clown. I think I like him, but maybe I like him just because I haven't watched many videos. Okay, I like him because of the beard, okay? I think the beard looks awesome. I haven't got a clue. I haven't watched his videos. So I don't know if his information is right, wrong. I think it looks cool, though. I need to form my opinions and watch the videos of debunking. But debunking has always been very nice to me. Now, of course, you could tell me, well, what do you mean, Metatron? Someone can just be nice to you and that's all you use as a parameter. But you know, after I've been called a Nazi online, yeah, my bar is pretty low. Yeah, my bar is pretty low. These days.
Yeah, you definitely need to figure out that Dan is a worthless piece of shit troll. Ever since I humiliated him and his relevance has completely evaporated, he's taken to whining about me on a regular basis and leaving the most pathetic cope comments you've ever seen, where he just calls me fat and dumb repeatedly.
Okay, so calling someone fat and dumb is pathetic according to Professor Dave. Therefore, it follows reason that he surely doesn't call people fat and dumb, right? Because if he did, then wouldn't he also be in the same scenario? Well, he doesn't call people fat. I checked every single video of his. He doesn't call people fat, so I'll give him that. But does he call people dumb? Well, one moment. And I will show you. One moment, please. Okay. It's a loading. Internet a little slow today. In the meantime, I'll check to see what you guys are saying. Is the stream still going? I'm waiting for the internal server error. Okay. Well, I hope that the stream is still going. In the meantime, give me 1 second so we see why we're getting an internal server error here. I'm going to have to close this. I'll close a couple of tabs that we don't need. That might solve the problem. Yeah, I can close this one. And then I'm going to close this one. And then I'm going to close... Okay. All right, let's see if it loads the page. Still receiving? Okay, stream is fine. That's good, that's good. Maybe it's just a problem with the internal server. Anyways, if I can... Oh, yeah, okay. I think it worked. Continue. It's giving me a gotcha thing to make sure I'm human. Identify everything that you can see in the example image. All right, I guess. 1 second. I need to verify. I'm not unbelievable. It's now machines verifying that whether or not we're humans. I thought it was going to be the other way around. Us trying to verify whether the machine is sentient or not. But the reality is that now we ended up in a world where the machine is trying to verify whether we are a human or a robot. It is what it is. A little slow, the internet today. Come on, open the page, you muppet. Well, of course, by the way, just so you know, this video, all of this presentation is going to be cut. It's going to be edited. So dead parts like this will be removed. And then we will just get the a kind of a easier to follow video. So probably post it maybe tomorrow. Could be a good idea. Let's wait a second. In the meantime, let me see. Oh, you know what? That's a great moment. Okay, worked. All right, check this out. And then we'll get back. All right, so he just said that it's pathetic. It makes him pathetic that he calls, what's his name? Debunking calls Professor Dave dumb. Problem is, there are 154 videos on his channel where Professor Dave uses the word dumb to describe his interlocutors or the people that he's debating with or the people that he's having a discussion with or the people that he is talking about multiple times. In blue. This is every single time he calls someone dumb. Huh. And more results, guys. More results. So, wouldn't that make you pathetic then, Professor Dave? That's my question. But please, let's continue. So, debunking is pathetic because debunking calls Professor Dave dumb and fat. Okay.
He's human excrement and one of my favorite punching bags.
He doesn't know the first thing about archaeology and is essentially just echoing the talking points of Hancock and other grifters to try and make a buck.
Ooh.
Where Hancock's grift...
Okay, let's that's the first red word. I double down on that. Absolutely. And you know that now we're going to move into the gaslighting part, right? Because all I'm saying now is that to me, grifter is a red flag, Why? Well, because people get called grifter all the time, and the reality is that they are not actually grifters, but they just disagree with your position or ideas. That's how a lot of people use the word grifter these days, and it's a fact. So to me, the word grifter has become, does the mic work? Yes, has become a red flag. Grifter. First red word, -1 point.
It's not -1 point to refer to grifters as grifters.
Unless you didn't do research on them, right? Because you could be wrong, and then you are calling someone a grifter who wasn't a grifter. And up to this point, I'm not really confident about your ability to be consistent with your terminology.
It's -1 point for you to whine like a toddler about me exposing grifters.
And then when we say here, racism, white supremacists, is it? I'll watch the show. But I'm starting to think, no, when Professor Dave uses racism, he hasn't provided evidence. We need the evidence. We do need the evidence, by the way. We need to stop calling people racist just because. Right? And I think I am someone who can speak about this due to the fact that me pointing out the obvious historical fact that, for instance, Cleopatra and her entire family weren't black, that was sufficient for people to call me racist. When I think that in a polite, civilized society, particularly in academic circles, but I would say in the larger, broader spectrum of online discourse, we should stop accusing people of being racist without evidence. Just because, are you saying that you don't like this because you hate people of this specific ethnicity? From the documentary that pushes white supremacy.
Every single defender of Hancock whines about this. They do it to Flint, too, when they cry about how Flint called Graham a white supremacist. He didn't. Nobody did. We all continually point out how Graham references white supremacist sources, such as Ignatius Donnelly, which I brought up just before this clip. So he saw me do that and probably just didn't know who that is.
I'll give him that. Yes, I don't know who this is. So I'll give him that. I don't know if this is an actual white supremacist like he's claiming. Once again, I don't take his word for it, but I'm saying, for the sake of argumentation, let's say that this guy was indeed a white supremacist. That doesn't mean that you can't touch what they say, by the way. You know, that's another thing that I want to point out. If we are reviewing information, for instance, some people would say that Julius Caesar was a megalomaniac war criminal who performed genocide on the Gauls and other populations. Does that mean that we can't read his sources to try and use them as information? Of course, it's fine. The guy could be a despicable monster, I don't know, but that doesn't make what he says false. The truth remains objective, and I can review, for instance, I mean, there would be half of early archaeology would be gone because of some of the stuff they said, which was objectively racist at that point. But it doesn't matter. I can still read them, and I can still see if there is information, as it's probably going to be, that could be used, like, for instance, the state of preservation of early 19th century, for instance, the wall paintings in Egypt in the tomb of Seti I. I'm pretty sure that some of the archaeologists may have been racist. Who cares? I'm interested in information. The simple fact that someone may be racist doesn't mean that now I have to objectively disqualify their research. I can still read it. I can keep that in mind if needed, but I can still read it because there might still be. If a racist or anyone, a white supremacist, a black supremacist, any form of supremacist, if someone says 1 + 1 = 2, the data is still correct. Whether or not I may want to distance myself from their ideology, that's fine. But it's fine to use the data. I don't have a problem with that. Let's see.
So he doesn't know that he is objectively a white supremacist. Graham references white supremacist sources, which is why he garners support from white supremacists.
Right, and you, Professor Dave, garner support from the worst the radical left has to offer. The radical, I specifically do say that, the radicals, because of your attitude of toxicity and all of your attacks ad personam, which are usually enjoyed by the people who like this kind of poison, then should I consider you gullible or responsible for the type of audience you have and the kind of comments that they left under my video after you made a section about me? No. No, because these are separate people. But you're doing this, you're pointing the finger, and he's going to say with me as well, he's going to say, oh, Metatron has accrued an audience of far right, blah, blah. They do this all the time. Apart from the fact it's not true, my audience is mixed. But regardless, it doesn't matter, even if it were the case. Can we look at the objective truth and data, or do we have to keep pointing the finger at each other like clowns and say, oh, but your audience, you've got some crazy people in your audience, so we need to disqualify anything you say?
These are facts. His commentary is meaningless as he does not possess the relevant facts, yet acts smug and judgmental anyway, as though I must be wrong because he doesn't like the way I am
So I'm smug. And I was saying, like, hey, to his credit, I don't consider myself to be better than him. I'm the smug one. Goodness gracious, self-awareness minus 50.
presenting information.
It's not controlling the narrative.
Oh, you're saying, how is he a professor? He has a bachelor degree. He's not even admitted it. I already found those videos. I didn't want to present them here because I'm not that interested in attacking his character. He's not a professor. He's just a handle. He created that handle for the YouTube. It was a joke. It was a thing like, oh, you know, people call me professor because I like teaching things, so we just use that word. It's not professor in the American sense, meaning someone who teaches at a university with a high-level degree. He's not a professor in that sense. But I'm not interested in, I didn't prepare a section about that like I've seen other people that attack him that do, because to me that doesn't matter. I think people know I'm not the Archangel Metatron. Or am I? And so it's fine. I don't care. I call myself Metatron, call yourself Professor. I don't care about that. I'm interested in the arguments and the logical fallacies that he's using and the poison in the well and the red herring and the ad hominem attacks. He literally used a litany, a veritable cornucopia of all sorts of intellectually dishonest techniques and logical fallacies. That's what I'm interested in. But no, he's not a professor. If we really have to say that, he's not a professor.
To push back on fraudulent claims because science is not a narrative. It's an empirical process.
I agree. Oh, I wish, Professor Dave, I really wish. I agree that that's what science should be, see? And if by science we go a little even into the all the sectors, history, linguistics, language, all the sectors, then I'm going to say that's what it should be, but it really isn't. People flash their degrees. That's a fact that I'm saying. Then they push nonsense.
The science-illiterate non-scientist is giving a lecture about what science should be.
You see, earlier on, he denied that he's the one who sort of gatekeeps. And he was going to continue denying it. He said, I never said it, that unless you have a degree, you can't speak about something. And yet that's the second time he does it. He did it on the original video that I was reacting to, and he reinforced the same concept right now. He said, well, Metatron is scientifically literate. Also, how do you know? But whatever. Metatron is scientifically literate, and yet he's telling us about science. Okay, so you are gatekeeping and saying who should be allowed to talk about subjects. You're exactly doing that, just like I had. So my initial statement and assessment was correct.
It will never not be pathetic when these morons do this. He couldn't science his way out of a paper bag, but all the scientists are flashing degrees and pushing nonsense because
Okay, that one was funny. I'll give him that.
he says so. Got it.
The debate is 4.5 hours long, so
Yeah.
we're not going to go through every last moment. But given that this is the centerpiece of this fiasco, we do need to spend a good amount of time here. So let's dive in.
Okay, and that's the part that we get to that I demonstrated, that he says that it's not true, that I'm lying when it comes to getting the copyright claim. I already showed it on screen that I did get a copyright claim precisely on that, and so his accusation of me lying was false. Is he gonna say that again? Challenge to you. Are you gonna admit that you were wrong about that? It was on the screen, Professor Dave. Are you gonna admit it, Professor? A dedicated video later.
Not enough to form a complete...
Oh yeah. Let me show that. All right. Okay. And particularly on the quality of the information he presents. I said I don't know. I still haven't formed my idea on the quality of the information he presents. Although at this point I'm gonna say the quality on the information he parrots because he doesn't do research. Watch more videos. I might make a dedicated video later.
Not enough to form a complete opinion? That's funny because you titled this video, Professor Dave is Toxic.
And you proved me right by how toxic you were during this entire video about me. Well, the section about me. So yeah, I guess I was right.
So you don't have a complete opinion, but it's complete enough to make this bullshit clickbait title, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I said I don't have a... Look how he shifts the post. I said I don't have a complete opinion on the quality of his information. But on him being toxic, oh, absolutely I have a complete opinion. And as you can see, he proved me right. He proved me right.
Right, asshole?
But for what I can see up to this point, he seems really angry. And he has lost some credibility. Because... Complete loss. Like, he has no credibility after this video. Zero. I proved everything. Everything. I came with receipts. Everything is proven. At this point, I have to believe he's jealous about the hair. Well, maybe. I don't know. But what's funny is that I showed everything on screen. So at this point, unless you're like literally a cultist, even if you're someone who really hates my guts, what I'm expecting from people of a certain intelligence is to say, man, I hate Metatron. I wish it wasn't the case, but man, he really demolished him. I did. It's the truth. This is like credibility under zero now with Dave. I demonstrated he doesn't know what he's talking about when he makes strongly confident claims with a layer of arrogance on top of them. Unfortunately, it appears to be one of those people that will use racist, white supremacist, and also this idea that if you have credentials, you're not supposed to be challenged, or that people should not be allowed to make their own mind or be exposed to both sides of the coin. No, that's very dangerous. Yep.
You're whining about me calling out racism and white supremacy.
Yes.
Jimmy Corsetti is racist. He's
Anecdotal. I don't care you take one person. I haven't got a clue if Jimmy Corsetti is racist or not. I don't know. You'll tell me. You chat, I mean. Definitely I'm not going to listen to this guy. However, yeah, I said that you call people racist, and that's something I don't appreciate, and you give me one example. Even if I were to grant, for discourse sake, let's say that Jimmy Corsetti and his audience also, his entire audience, but let's say that Jimmy Corsetti is racist for whatever reason. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying for the sake of argumentation. That's one. How many times should we ask then, does he use this? How about we write racist and look through his entire channel? It's going to take a little bit to load, guys, but it's going to be worth it, my friends. It's going to be worth it. Trust me. And then, of course, as you see, he's going to deny that he calls everyone a racist, and then he's going to deny that he's doing the gatekeeping that he is. Although we listened to it twice, so you have to keep that one in mind. There we go. 22 videos. In 22 videos.
Blatantly racist comments, and is generally Graham being called racist, which
what you said about Eminem is racist as
Okay.
Were they racist as well?
He's
That
a
one wasn't
racist
him.
douchebag who makes
Okay.
a living lying about
Let me hear it-
archaeology. He's a
let me hear it
racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag. He's a racist douchebag who makes a living.
You do call people racist all the time, and giving me one example doesn't change the fact that my statement was in fact apt. So yeah, there's that. But please, let's continue.
Spews genuinely anti-Semitic rhetoric frequently, and so do his racist followers. Graham references white supremacist sources, which brings him support from white supremacists. And nowhere did I ever say that people with credentials shouldn't be challenged.
What? We saw it twice. He said it. He said Graham Koch doesn't have an archaeology degree, so he shouldn't. Why is he speaking about archaeologists? He's pathetic. And then he said about me, why this scientifically literate moron is telling us about science. It's exactly what you say. The only difference is that you take exception to yourself. So you don't want other people to challenge those who have degrees in whatever subjects. Also, you don't know what degrees I have or my team. My team is highly prepared when it comes to that. We've got postdoctoral degrees at this point, but whatever. You say, no, you can't do it, but I can, and here is why. That's not how science works, science communicator.
Given the fact that I regularly debunk the shit out of lying frauds who are
I know, because you take exception for yourself.
more credentialed than I am. And people are constantly exposed to both sides of the coin, given all the frauds pushing pseudoscience all over the internet that I debunk. It seems like you're upset that I'm defending the factual side of the coin. Epic fail, Metatron. You have nothing but sensationalist clickbait. But in general, this conservative cry-bully attitude of getting upset when bigotry is called out is beyond pathetic.
No, it's just a you call bigotry. Let me check that one. I want to see how many times he calls bigots. Let's see. Let's do it. Entire channel. Bigot. Let's see. Everyone is a bigot. You're not... Here's the thing. We demonstrated that when he calls someone something, he doesn't research them. So of course he's going to consider me. Yeah, that is projection, Dave. Exactly. That is delusional to a funny degree. I'm actually having a good time. I thought this was going to be more annoying, but in fact, it's actually funny. Only 10 times. I got to give it to him. I was expecting more. Bigot.
Pivot to culture war bullshit, to worthless bigot transphobe, worthless bigot transphobe, worthless bigot transphobe. Is a worthless bigot.
Okay.
bigot is a sin.
Bigot.
another bigot.
Bigot.
Bigot, probably.
Ooh, this is a combo. It's dumb bigot. So I thought he said that it was pathetic when people call him dumb, and yet he does a double thing. It's dumb bigot. As usual, rules don't apply to Professor David. They only apply to the plebs in his position, in his idea. Next.
that shows huge portions of multiple Rogan episodes is fully monetized.
Sorry. It's this one here. Okay. I absolutely despise the word bigot now. Yeah. Because I do despise the word bigot on everyone. It's so annoying. When I hear someone say, bigots, I'm like, okay, never mind. Someone else. Move along. True.
You disregard absolutely everybody who uses the word bigot, so anyone can be a...
I didn't say disregard now, did I? I just said it annoys me. I didn't say disregard. Man, this guy does not know how to steal, man. It's continuous trauma, and it's almost exhausting at one point. And yeah, it's the same thing. You have, Professor Dave, the exact attitude towards people who use the word woke. Okay? Let's be honest about this. So, here we are.
Piece of shit bigot, and if someone calls them out for it, they're to be disregarded. What a solid position you have going
Not my position at all. Strawman Dave.
there. This is precisely the kind of gaslighting I'm talking about. This has the same energy as when we used to refer to a woman as hysterical when she would report the sexual and physical abuse she was suffering.
What does that even... It's disgusting that you would do, because that is a serious situation. Like about not believing someone who truly had, if they did have that kind of experience, because some women lie, but let's say someone who did have that kind of experience, then that's despicable that you would compare the two.
Pay no attention, she's in hysterics, so they just medicate her and
He is actually hysteric, though. Dave is quite hysterical.
keep systematically beating and raping her.
I wonder if he identifies as a woman at this point, because he does act a bit like a liberal woman.
Similarly, Trump can do
Okay, so now he's going to go into politics. I think that was my section. Now, to finish this off, guys, the problem is that Dave wants you to believe that he is a science communicator. Here's the problem, though, Dave. If you want people to consider you a science communicator, act like one and talk like one, present like one. He doesn't. So in reality, what he is someone who wanted to be a science communicator, a languages communicator. He's got a series on Latin, but those videos didn't get views, which I sympathize. I struggle with the algorithm all the time. So he had a massive incentive, because he noticed that when he vomits poison on people at a decent constant speed, which of course means he doesn't do any research, as he said, then those videos get a lot of views, which translate into a lot of money. That's fine. Do it. Get the bag at this point. But the problem is this. You are now an entertainer to the radical, toxic left. That's what you are. That's it. You're not a science communicator. How do I know? Look at how, during what was supposed to be an intellectual debate on chemistry, look at what he does when his introductory presentation about the other speaker. He's going to attack his arguments, right? Because that's what a science communicator does. Attacking arguments, right? Let's go.
His embarrassing commentary takes place exclusively on YouTube or in-person events for science-illiterate Christians who share his biases and delusions.
Science-illiterate Christians. He hates Christians, by the way. So if you're a Christian, I strongly suggest to unsubscribe.
Jim's clueless ramblings do not even remotely resemble primary scientific literature. Idiotic. We will get to James fumbling the science in a moment, but first it is important to establish that James is a brazen liar. This is the dumbest straw man in history. Well, he reveals a level of incompetence that is shocking for someone of his stature. In his profound ignorance, can't even read a 13C NMR spectrum, something he should have learned as an undergrad. The idea that James can't do something that an undergrad could do is astounding, and whether his brain ceases to function when examining this research, or he is deliberately lying to a gullible audience with no clue what he's talking about, his credibility is reduced to zero with this example alone. He is a toxic individual and pathological liar who actively promotes science denial and slanders diligent researchers. He made that up, like a liar. This hurt James so badly.
Does that sound like a science communicator to you?
Viewers can't read, so they just ate up the fabricated story. Pretty dumb lie to tell. I think we can all agree that we are establishing the pathological nature of his lying. Well, then you're blind.
And now he says, I can't even make the RNA.
Who cares? You lied about this. Look, my God.
Okay, so at the very end of this disgusting demonstration of how to be a troll, this guy made this question. I'm going to finish this part of the stream with this, then I'm going to read the super chats. Look at the question this guy has.
thing that they admire.
Question.
You
In
people
your
are
last,
idiots.
in your latest video,
What is one thing that they admire about each other's scientific career?
let me start. This man has said multiple times that I have called him stupid. I have never called him stupid because I don't think he's stupid. I have said he's clueless on this topic. I have said he cannot read the scientific literature. That doesn't mean stupid. This man has become a musician, and then he went out, and in 2015, he started an educational site, which is huge. Stupid people can't do that. I admire him. This is an educational site, and I have never called him stupid because he's not stupid. He's not stupid. So I admire him for his educational site, and from what I understand, I'm not a musician. From what I understand, what people have said, he's an excellent musician. I admire him for that as well. His wife is here. He's a father. He has 2 children. I admire that a man can have a wife and 2 children and stay married and do these things.
Okay, so that's a beautiful thing to say. At this point, even if he was wrong on the science, which I don't know because I don't know chemistry, but even if he was wrong on the science, I would at least admire him for the intellectual integrity. If someone says this about you after you have insulted them for the entirety of the presentation, how would you react if you had even a modicum of dignity? Let's see.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. I admire that.
I admire the tenacity with which you stick to a script of lies. It's actually quite impressive.
Okay, so now we have just, and with that, I'm going to say, Professor Dave, your credibility is now 0. Not only that, but you have the morality of a troglodyte, and I would more gladly spend an entire month with a Denisovan or a Neanderthal than you, because you have no decency, no moral, no honor, no truth, no respect for the truth, and you're just a bully with the ego the size of a mountain. Oh, and let me add in Sicilian, te si minchia. And that concludes the section about Professor Dave debunking me. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's move on to a few of your comments. Let's have a look at the super chat first, and I'll check out the comments, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to fan funding very quickly. Thank you so much for your patience. I really appreciate the support for the stream. Thank you, Aussie Annihilation, for the $2 support. Thank you, Tachi Tempo, 7774. And you say, I had an entire book length argument with him. He's very rude. Yeah. And then also she says again, thank you for the support. I made a comment about how many fallacies he made against Jay Dyer. He insulted me and accused me of not watching the video. Yeah, he does that all the time. I match energy flame war. Sounds great. Lapco, hey Lapco, great supporter of the channel. Appreciate you here. Lapco says, howdy, Raf. Advice, I love, never play chess with a pigeon. They will knock over the pieces, scrap all on the board, and then strut around like they won. Yeah, of course, that's what he's going to do. And by the way, if he makes a response video to this, like he actually goes the same way that like Freda, Empanada, all the others have done with the hit piece now dedicated to Metatron. I've got 3 more videos that are ready to go about him. So I'm ready. I'm ready, brother. Bring it on. If that's where you want to go, let's do it. Let's go. Thank you, Tachi Tempo. And again, sorry for making you wait. As far as I know, he has a Bachelor's of Art, not even a Bachelor's of Science. Okay, I didn't know that. If that's true, oh, that's ridiculous. That's hilarious if that's true, but I don't know. I have more credentials than him, yet he still made appeal to authority. True. Left-handed, thank you for the support. And Richard, was Yeshua ben Yosef Jewish? Ethnically and religiously, I would say so, yeah. Although then again, we don't really, when we talk, of course, if they're talking about Jesus or Yeshua, I don't think it really makes a lot of sense to speculate too much on, even though I do it myself on my videos. But if you look at it from a religious standpoint, from a secular standpoint, after we decide that we are on the side that believes that Jesus existed historically, of course, I'm one of those. If you're a mythicist, that conversation ends in that spot at this point. But if we do want to approach this from a secular perspective, then yeah, his ethnicity would have been the combination of his mother and his father, and yeah, some kind of Jew of the period would be a good description, I guess. Although then again, if you look at some of his, we could say, the way you go back in his ancestry, there might be some foreign in there too. But then again, if you look at it from a Christian perspective, half of his DNA is divine. So at that point, I haven't got a clue. I don't think that kind of ethnicity even exists. At that point, I don't think it even exists. Let's continue. Look up Professor Dave versus Lord Jamar. We might do that on a separate video. Thank you for the suggestion. And then we've got Bidskit V. This Dave dude believes in fluent genders. Oh yeah, of course he does. That's more than enough for me to understand. He's a pseudoscientist, simple as that. And I absolutely understand where you're coming from, particularly because one of the things that often the people that talk about this fact that there are a million genders and all that kind of stuff, they tell you no, but it's because they defend it by saying, but there is a difference. You're getting confused. One thing is biological sex and one thing is gender, in the sense that we elevate it into the social sciences, and therefore it's a construct and it's not the same as biological sex. Not only that alone is something that I would resist as a definition, because you don't get to take a word that we have used since the Paleolithic, although in all of its iteration in Proto-Indo-European, all the way up to 15 minutes ago, change the meaning and then tell us, actually now it includes this other aspect coming from the social sciences. Well, you don't get to do that. So there is that already. But the problem is that as we watched when there was the transgender shooter in Canada that shot kids, the Canadian authorities that are of the same line of thought specifically said it's a male who identified as a female. They used the terms that should, in theory, represent exactly biological sex, not the construct that you talk about that should, in theory, belong to the social sciences. So it's nonsense anyways. And I refuse to say individual to menstruate, I say female. I refuse to say birthing parent, it's mother, one of the most beautiful ancestral words that we have. I won't do it. Doesn't matter how much you try to shame us. So there is that. Thank you, Chef Alan, for subscribing with Prime on Twitch. We're doing really well on Twitch. Yesterday we went live. By the way, if you want to watch my live streams during the week, where sometimes we play games, we do react videos and that kind of stuff, then you should definitely follow me on Twitch, because that's where I go live almost every day. So that could be, I think, really fun to do. All right, let's have a look at a few regular comments, and then we're going to move to the next individual for this live stream. And we're going to do a reaction to someone who reacted to me. I think it was like 2 days ago, because something crazy is happening. Adominem Dave, that is a great way to describe him, actually, Adominem Dave, absolutely. Dorfius says Jesus Christ is Lord. I agree with that, 100%. And yeah, so... thank you again for the support, guys. Very much appreciated. Let me put like an image. One moment, please. I want to put like a nice image so we don't have to stare at his face. Smug face. And we can look at a nice image of like something nice, like a medieval castle or something. Medieval castle. How about we do that? Something nice like that. Computer a little slow today. I wonder why. How about this castle? How about this castle? Ooh, that's a nice one. Yeah. It's a little bit of a small image, but we'll make do. Doesn't matter because it's going to be the chat that is the most important part. So we can make do with this little castle just to have it here because it's nice. We're going to have a little castle here. Joe Rogan is dead? No, he's not. I know Chuck Norris is dead. I'm really sorry about that. Actually, really sorry about that. Chuck Norris was awesome. Do let me check, though, that statement if it's true, because if it is true, we're going to talk about it. So I do want to see. But I think it will be all over Twitter. Although, then again, admittedly, I am not on X right now. But is Joe Rogan dead? No, he's not dead, guys. Joe Rogan is not dead. I don't know who told you that, but I don't see Joe Rogan being dead. What's up with the RIP Joe Rogan thing? So it's a thing that people are doing. Let me share my screen. In the comments of the CJUI live chat, is people saying Joe Rogan is dead. I know he's definitely not dead, but where does this come from? Nah, I think you're trolling me. Wait. Nah, really? Nah, Joe Rogan has been found. What do you guys say? It's trolling, isn't it? I think they're trolling. And they're getting clicks out of it. It was fun in his dead in his UFC. People won't stop saying Joe Rogan died. Yeah, I don't think it's true. Well, let's check his X account. Let's see if let's go Joe Rogan. the Joe Rogan Experience, maybe even the podcast news, because they would make the announcement 2 minutes ago. Now they're talking about Trump and Chuck Norris. Trump and Chuck Norris doesn't sound like Joe is dead. I don't think he is. Chuck Norris being dead, though, man, that sucks. I remember. You remember I think the first time that I watched a show by Chuck Norris was the one with Bruce Lee, where he fought Bruce Lee, and he still had the hairy chest, because these were like the 70s, I guess, or the 80s maybe. Was it the 70s? It was 86, thank you for that. And so the 80s, and he still had the hairy chest. Then after that, he started shaving it because I think that became trendy. But I still remember that fight. I loved it because he was the karate guy and Bruce Lee was the kung fu guy. And I remember watching that. And usually people were all about like Bruce Lee, but I was a karate guy at the time. So I was cheering for Chuck Norris in that scene. But regardless, then it was Walker, Texas Ranger, that we used to watch in Italian, believe it or not. Could you imagine? Because it's not like when I was a kid I could watch stuff. It was all dubbed. I couldn't watch stuff in English. I didn't know English. So could you imagine Chuck Norris speaking Italian, being like, "Dove andiamo stasera? Mangiamo la pasta?" Like that was Chuck Norris for me. Guys, Way of the Dragon is 72. I thought it was the 70s. Yeah. I mean, when did Bruce Lee die again? When did Bruce Lee die? Oh, he died in 73, so of course it wasn't going to be the 80s. What am I on about? The death of Bruce Lee is another one of those things that I really wish we knew what happened. But I can give you a working theory. Thank you so much for letting me know, by the way. So of course it wasn't. Yeah, that's why at first I said 70s, and then I was like, maybe it was the 80s? No, the 80s is when I watched it. So for me, that's why I said 80s, because it's when I watched it. 80s and early 90s is when we were watching Bruce Lee all over the place. But yeah, no, he died in 73. What a tragedy, by the way. I think Bruce Lee was a phenomenal actor, martial artist. I loved him. The thing, though, surrounding his death, I know that there are people that think that there is more to it when it comes to, maybe the involvement of the Chinese mafia. Maybe like they didn't like the fact that he was teaching Chinese martial arts to white people and Americans and whatnot. And then he was a famous person. He was rich, so he probably had enemies. I understand all of that. The way he died, if you don't know, is that he was actually in Hong Kong, if I'm correct, and he was visiting what I think was allegedly his mistress. And he visited her. Then he said he had a headache that day. He was supposed to actually go and film. He was going to film. But he had a headache, so he asked her for a pill. He took the pill for the headache. He went to sleep. He never woke up. And of course, people think she poisoned him. People think, oh, she did that because she was paid by the Chinese mafia. There is all the conspiracy about it. Also because, he was very healthy. Here is the thing, though. I read, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I read it, but it's not like I was preparing a video. So I just read it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I read that he had his sweat glands removed, and that was something that people did back in the day sometimes because they thought from an aesthetic reason, because you can live without your sweat glands. It is a surgical procedure that people can do. Even Shad did it, by the way, but he did it because he had the other problem. He did it because Shad was over sweating for Shadiversity, so he had to undergo that procedure. I heard that Bruce Lee did that because he didn't like when he looked too sweaty, I guess, on camera. But one of the possible problems of this is that due to the fact that sweat is a way for our body to sort of control the temperature, because when you sweat, you are literally cooling yourself off. So people that do this have to be careful medically when it gets really hot, because they could have trouble cooling down, I heard. And it's possible that due to the fact that he had been doing a lot of training and it was a very hot day, that he actually had a heat stroke, because there are in his body there were symptoms of a heat stroke. So it is possible that that's what happened, and if it is what happened, then it's terrible. And but I don't know if it's true. It's one of those things. Thank you, Lapko. Admit it, you ignored Bruce and Chuck and was staring at the Colosseum backdrop. Yeah, I mean, it was awesome that they did it at the Colosseum, though. I mean, that was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. Yeah. His brain swelled, exactly, which is also something that can happen when you get really, really hot and you don't cool down. Maybe if instead of going to sleep, he had a cold shower, maybe he wouldn't have died. This is an interesting question. Metatron, out of interest, can you pronounce this using classical Latin pronunciation? Why would I use classical Latin for a... This is an Italian name. So it's Leonardo da Vinci. That's the Italian pronunciation, but it's an Italian name. It's not in Latin. So yeah, if I had to do it for whatever reason in Latin, it would become... Leonardo would stay the same. Maybe you would have to check to see where they put the phonemic vowel length and which vowels are long and which are short. And then, yeah, it would become Da Vinci because the C is a K and the V is a W and the E probably would be extended in phonemic vowel length. But then again, it's an Italian name. There is no reason to do it. It's Leonardo da Vinci. That's how we say it. Let's have a look at the death of Chuck Norris very quickly. That's another thing. Death of Chuck Norris. Oh, yeah, 86, man. That's such a lot. Unless they, I got to do the final Chuck Norris. We need to do the final Chuck Norris joke since we were always making Chuck Norris jokes. He didn't die. He sacrificed himself because if he really fought back, death would die and no one else would ever die. So he sacrificed himself. Anyways, Chuck Norris, man, that's such a shame. How did he die? Let's see why. What cause? An official cause of death has not been publicly released as of Friday morning. Do you guys know? Norris had reportedly been hospitalized in Hawaii after experiencing a medical emergency in the days leading up to his death, according to TMZ. What was the medical emergency? Do you know? Why is he in hospital? Medical emergency. Well, at age 86, of course, there are a lot of things that... Yeah. Oh, I love this one, Just a Texan. That was such a good one. I'm going to read it right now in honor of Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris didn't die. Chuck Norris went on a vacation to heaven. You're absolutely right. That's great. That's a good one. The incident took place on Kauai Island within the last 24 hours. The nature of the emergency is unknown. Sources confirm the action star is in good spirits following his recent birthday celebration. Well, I hope he was surrounded by family, to be honest. I really do. I think that is the one thing that I hope for myself. And I think we can all hope that you think it was exhaustion. I wonder. Because I think that is the one thing that we all hope happens. We don't know how any of us is going to go. But when it does happen, I do hope that it's something you can do like with your family. You can hold hands with the people that you really matter the most for you, that are your entire life. I think that would be the best way. And that was the one thing that I think, because my uncle, when he passed, my mom's brother, he was alone because of COVID. So they didn't allow anyone to go in, and he passed alone, and my uncle Mario. And that was really sad for me to think. I was already 6,000 miles away because I was in America. But when that happened, very close uncle, the idea that he was alone, although then again, I mean, at least if you have faith in that very moment, I think that if I were alone, physically, I would feel that at least I'm with God. I will be a moment to speak to him before returning to him. That would be my position. But still, it is sad that happened. They didn't allow anyone in, and he just passed on his own. And when it comes to my mother, when she, not to get too, like, I'm not trying to trauma dump or anything. We'll move to the next section very quickly. But just to add, when my mom passed, I am glad that I did make it on time. I flew 6,000 miles very quickly. And thank you, by the way, because you guys paid for that ticket. You did. It was very expensive, but you guys did. You covered it. I will always be thankful for that. And so I flew very fast. And when I arrived, I hadn't slept for 12 hours. I was a mess. I still went to see her. I saw her. She could barely speak. She tried to say my name. She couldn't say it because the cancer and also the multi-resistant, what was it? Bacillus. She got something that really hit her. So she couldn't really form her sentences, and she would be in a constant, like, awake state. But then she would be in a sleeping state. We didn't really talk. We couldn't. I did speak, but we couldn't really talk. But I'm glad that I saw her. And then after 2 hours, she was gone. So I do truly believe that she waited for me. I really do. And yeah, so that's what I say. I hope that it was with family. I really do. 86, man. 86. I do believe, I mean, I want to say it's not young, but he could have lived until like 1995. Who knows? I really wonder what happened. Anyways, I gotta use the restroom because Red Bull sends me to the restroom every time. Like I don't know why. So I'm gonna use the restroom very quickly, and then we'll move to the next section of the stream. I'm gonna leave Chuck Norris here on screen as a little credit to him, and I'll be right back. Thank you very much. Really appreciate. I'll see you in a second. Be right back. And we're back. Did you miss me? Thank you very much for the support. Let me see. For Q, I don't know how to pronounce it. Chuck Norris didn't die, he escaped to the Matrix. Absolutely. Let me see if there is anything else. Thank you, Mr. Valente79, for supporting the stream. Really appreciate that. And admittedly, yeah, I did do that. I did read that one. Okay, fantastic. So now we're going to move on to the next section of the stream. And it's going to be really fun. One moment, I think my wife just called me. 1 second, please. Let me see if she needs something. 1 second. I did see the super chat. I'll read it in a second. One moment. Okay, nothing. She was just checking on me. All right, so we got a couple of super chats to read, and then we move to the next section. Thank you for the super chats, by the way. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for everyone on Twitch. I really appreciate the subscriptions and the with Prime and the gifted subscriptions. Very cool stuff. Thank you, guys. You really rock. All right, Lapco, off topic. Wanted to say thanks. Heard you mention Valheim. Oh, yeah. So I picked it up and I'm hooked. Oh, yeah, that's one of the best games ever made. I friggin' love Valheim. Very soothing time sink until I ran into my first bear with only a spear about to start mining. Yeah, I mean, bears can be annoying, but their meat is cool, is good. So maybe once you get at least bronze gear, I would go for the bears, but before that. And also, you need to get good with the parry mechanic. Because if you're good with parry mechanic, even if you're playing solo, you can parry them. They get stunned. You do 2 to 3 hits if you want to be risky. Then they attack, parry again. And as long as you don't have gremlins around, you can take them out. I'm actually pretty good at that one. Otherwise, just wait. Maybe you can use incendiary arrows, but it's going to take a while with even incendiary arrows. Fantastic game, though. Fantastic game. I love that game. All right, guys, let's move to the next section. So next section, we are going to... let me see. We're going to move and we're going to check out Andrew Wilson because something happened. Now, Andrew Wilson, 2 nights ago, when he was... he made a video. Sorry, he was live. And then during his live, I entered the live stream. I talked a little bit in the chat. I said, hey, Andrew. And then he reacted to me. It was really cool. He actually reacted to my video about Destiny blocking me, which was hilarious. And his reaction was absolutely comical. I loved it. It was great. But anyways, that's a little bit of a different story. The thing is that something happened. So I'm going to have to check this out because it's not... This is serious stuff. This is serious stuff. Oh, he's live right now? I didn't even know. Yeah, chill stream, popcorn stream. I'm just going to open it 1 second to do the... reacting live to his live stream. That's kind of funny. But we're not going to do that. We're going to check out one of his videos because he said this. This Cambridge feminist made a huge mistake, he says, 23 hours ago. I'll see you in court. So there is the possibility of a lawsuit. And we really have to talk about it because this is, regardless of the side, by the way, this is an issue that pertains to social media that really has to be addressed. Now that I told you what we're going to do, I do wish to ask you a little favor, if possible, and it's the following, guys. This is the favor that I have to ask. If it's okay, you don't have to do it, but if possible, it would be really cool. So I posted a video today, which is this video reaction here about the Irish potato famine of a really cool channel, and gave them a shout out, put them the link and everything that I usually do. The thing is that on this video, I have a sponsor, and it's a sponsor for a really cute game called Heroes of History. And of course, if enough people download the game, which is free for you, through my link, then the sponsor might like the collaboration and they could decide to sponsor me again. So that could be one way, because sometimes I see some of you saying, man, I wish I could send you a super chat, but I can't afford it. And I'm like, I appreciate it. Don't worry about it. But this is something you could effectively do that doesn't cost you money, and it would help me out. So I'm going to put the link to the video. If you could, maybe open it at a separate tab for later, if that's okay. Only if that's okay. And yeah, because if with your phone or your browser, if you download through my link, then they will see it, and it can make me look better with the sponsor. So I would really appreciate it. And while you're at it, if you want to watch the video, that would be great, and leave a comment. Thank you so much for your support. And I wanted to read one thing. There was one chat. Let's see. It's also funny when people ask me to debate people live. I'm not a debater, so I don't know why. I can have a conversation with people. I usually leave debates to professional debaters who learn the skills of debating. Whatever, but we'll see. I'm more than open to have conversations with people. The only parameter, by the way, I can have a conversation online with people on any side of the political spectrum, on any side of the religious or lack thereof spectrum, and I'm okay having conversation with critics of mine. There is, however, one type of person that I'm not okay talking to, even in an informal way, and that is the people that, for instance, laughed at Charlie Kirk's death. If you have ever laughed about Charlie Kirk's death, I don't want to talk to you, precisely because I'm not like him. You took out the guy. You, meaning the radicals, took out the guy that was willing to speak to anyone. I'm not him. You're my enemy for life if you laughed at Charlie Kirk. No conversation with you at that point. I think my bar is very low, though. Just don't laugh at people's murders and death. And that's it. Then I don't even care if we have completely opposite beliefs and positions. Thank you, Mr. Valente, for the $2 support, by the way. Yeah, you were saying I have watched Metatron and I agree with some of his videos. Thank you. On Afrocentrism misinformation. Appreciate that. Which Professor Dave is also against. Great. I did say that my whole videos were not about his information being wrong. So there's that. But Metatron is weaker on far-right misinformation and MAGA, which also spread lies. That is not true, though, because just like I called out the people that laughed at Charlie Kirk's death, you know who I called out on like 15 posts on Twitter and a dedicated video and a stream? The people that laughed at Rob Reiner's death. And I, trust me, hate Rob Reiner's political positions. I still think it's despicable to laugh at what happened to him. It's a tragedy. It's wrong. I do that. So the fact that you say that I don't know, it's not true that you say I'm weaker. I'm willing to accept that, although then again, define far-right these days, because everyone is far-right who isn't a freaking Marxist at this point. So there is that. But if we were to say how many videos numerically are on my channel where I debunk right-wingers that say stuff that is incorrect, even though they're on my side because I'm right-leaning, on how many people do I debunk on the left because they're incorrect. I'm not denying that there is more debunking on the left than there is on the right, but you also have to understand that a lot of that debunking is people on the left that make hit pieces of me. No one on the right has ever, in 12 years, made a hit piece full of lies about me, even though I have debunked and attacked positions when it comes to history, also on the right-wing spectrum. For instance, when I made my video on Alexander the Great, there was a whole section about his sexuality, and to say a right-wing content creator, Leather Apron, was in the comments. He completely disagreed with me, but he was polite about it. Problem is that when the leftists disagree with me, they make hit pieces full of lie. So yes, I have to increase the number of videos where I defend myself against these people that call me racist and all that kind of stuff. That's not on me, though. And I do, of course, have some bias. I never said I'm without biases. But to say stuff like he did, Professor Dave, when he was saying that all I do is debunk woke stuff or debunk the left, but that's objectively false. I have debunked people on my side too. I've done it. Has he debunked people with a left-wing bias, though? That's the question. Thank you for asking, though. I appreciate even if you disagree with me. You weren't impolite, so I appreciate that. Rip Charlie Kirk. Absolutely. Absolutely. I personally believe Charlie Kirk is in heaven with Jesus. That's what I believe. Whether you believe it or not, I can respect that. Not a problem. But now, let's talk about this. So what's going on with this lawsuit? Let's see if we agree or not. Let's try to be objective about this. Do we agree with Andrew Wilson or no? Let's have a look.
So I was watching YouTube the other day.
I saw you did you do sit with Andrew Wilson? That's one thing I would disagree with you.
Oh, you sat with him? Oh.
Doing, which is interesting. Like maybe that's the
like
where the
talking
debate
to Andrew
will
Wilson?
happen.
What did I do now?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I just worry immediately for your safety in that moment.
Why?
Because of the fact that he's a racist. Andrew Wilson's a racist.
Andrew Wilson's a racist.
I mean, every time I see it, it makes my jaw drop. Holy ship. I'm going to say it with a P so I don't get demonetized. She really called him a rapist live, publicly. You know, I don't care what she did. Some of you are saying, oh, she's a cutie. Who cares? Doesn't matter. She's horrible inside. If she's okay, she feels comfortable doing this. No, sorry. I'm not saying that beauty doesn't matter. I married a freaking hottie. Beauty is important, but you also have to have beauty inside because this doesn't fly. We got to a point where certain people, and this happens a lot, in this case, of course, it's in the progressive side. She's clearly a progressive. Too many people are feeling comfortable because they came from a climate where you can call everyone a racist, you can call everyone a bigot, you can call everyone homophobic, you can call anyone whatever you want. And because they got no repercussions for that, they went up a scale. And now they started accusing people of crimes. She accused Andrew Wilson now of being a rapist. Just like, if you remember, there was that creator who was accusing Asmongold of being a PDF file with a false pretense when they were saying, oh, he dated this, it was an Asian girl, he dated her when she was underage, and it's not true because she was 21. And Asmongold is suing them. We need to sue these people. It is not okay. It's not okay to make criminal statements like this, slanderous, defamatory statements like this about someone simply because you don't like their politics. It's ridiculous. We got to a point where they're too comfortable with it, and there have to be repercussions. Andrew Wilson, please sue her into oblivion.
What?
I mean, he's admitted on live streams before on his podcast that he doesn't really believe in what he understands the modern version of consent to look like. And
yeah, because it makes no sense and is really fucking stupid. Can we get to the part where I'm actually this thing you just called me, though?
his entire career is built upon a foundational premise that you get clicks by bullying underage girls or
what? What underage girls?
Yeah, she's really fabricating reality at this point. Thank you so much, Jack. My bad. I said there was a debate between Shapiro and Morgan. I should have clarified it was Asmongold reaction video. Oh, no problem. I'll check that one out. And this is defamation. She's in trouble. Yes, and she should be in trouble. We need to stop this. We need to make an example of these people. The one that called Asmongold a PDF file without any proof and, in fact, with fallacious information. And now this chick that is calling him a rapist because he debates underage girl who weren't even underage. But please.
What the are you talking about?
Who are underqualified to speak about political problems. And I'm not saying that that's you.
Underqualified to speak about political problems. I have a almost 10th grade education. Almost. Let's see how that stacks up against these who are underqualified to speak about these problems.
Not so erudite. She has an undergraduate in psychology and a graduate diploma in psychometrics. Is Naima. She's a senior at USC. Charlie. She received a master's degree in fantasy literature from the University of Glasgow and a BA in English from California State University, Sacramento.
Oh, he's killing me.
She received bachelor degrees in psychology and creative writing from Ivy League School, Brown University. She plans to pursue a graduate degree in public policy. She graduated from University of Florida with a triple major, getting her BS in psychology and BA in philosophy and economics. She will be receiving her bachelor's in psychology.
May.
Which university, or if you don't want to? No worries. No worries. She will be receiving her bachelor's in psychology in May.
I'm a political science major. I graduated with a psychology major recently.
I graduated from FIU, Florida International University, with a double bachelor's in international relations and political science.
I'm Deborah Leah. I'm from New York City. I'm 24 years old, and I have a bachelor's degree in government and politics.
Any education?
Yes, I am college educated. I have my bachelor's.
Hi, I'm Millie Weaver. I'm a conservative journalist, big on YouTube, Millennial Millie on YouTube, And I'm also a co-founder.
Oh gosh, who would say that I'm big on YouTube? I would never say that. I would say I have a YouTube channel. Oh my gosh. So guys, let's not lose this is glorious. So what was the premise, the completely disconnected premise to justify her calling him a rapist was that he debates underage girls who are underqualified to talk about politics. And the reality is not only the fact that these two things are completely mutually inconsistent, what does that have to do with being a rapist, but whatever. But even the statements, they're not underage, and they are all overqualified, if anything. What on earth are these people smoking? Thank you, Makarif. Greta Thunberg has recently called Trump a PDF file. Well, everyone is calling him a PDF file because of the fact that his name is in the Epstein files. I'll give a comment on that. Presented as fact, offering no elaboration, enthusiastically, and with no fear of repercussion. Well, the thing is that everyone is doing that. And personally, of course, if Trump is proven to have done what they say they did, he should have consequences with the law. I mean, I don't know if realistic if it's going to happen. I think people with power have no consequences these days, left or right. But whatever, in an ideal utopic world, he should have consequences, should step down once you become the president, of course. But just having your name in the Epstein files is not evidence. So I'm not going to call someone, that's like they're calling, what's his name, Elon Musk is a PDF file. No, you can say that if you have evidence. It's normal that the most powerful people in the world are going to be in those files. It's going to happen. Now, clearly, the fact that you are dead thousands of times does make you wonder, well, I think there was some kind of connection with this individual, but did he know? That's the real question, guys. Did they know? Did he know that Epstein was doing what he was doing? Question number one. And if he did know, did he participate? I need a clear, evidence-based answer to these two questions before I call someone a PDF file. Why? Because innocent until proven guilty. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. That's the reality of it. But no, let's continue. Oh my God.
Founder of a tech company called QUX.
My IQ technically is at 140, so
my IQ technically is at 140. Oh my gosh, these people.
143?
By the way, the song only lasted so long. The list is quite exhaustive of women who are far more educated than me, who I debate. And men. So what the f*** are you talking about, moron?
I actually don't think that that is you at all. And I think that he went out on a limb when he debated you, because that's not usually the type of person that he would engage with.
Tilly lying again. No, Tilly. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but it's actually the opposite. Many, many shows have reached out to Kyla to do debates with me in the past, and she has turned them down over and over again.
I actually love the blue and red setup. I think it's kind of cool, the way he did it here. You must have like a massive lump over here. There is the red one that projects at the back. I need to ask him how he does it exactly, because it looks good.
Which he will not even deny, because I have all of the proof. You're wrong. You're wrong. And you're dumb.
But like, I think that that's for the men. I think Andrew Wilson is for the men.
Is he?
No, I may not be the smartest man in the room, but I'm pretty confident that she just got done saying that you're dumb. I think that that's her actual position here.
To tackle, because his audience are so. I mean, I've watched. I probably watched 20 hours or more.
No, you didn't.
No, you haven't. You lying sack of dog. Don't lie. I know you're about to lie. You always do. People always do that. You're about to tell a big fib
of his podcast, and I've been approached before to come on whatever, and I just said no because.
And this is how you know old Tilly is telling a Tilly lie. How could you watch 20 hours of the podcast and still declare that it's my podcast? It belongs to Brian Atlas, and I guest on it sometimes and do debates on it sometimes.
So not only is proving that she's lying, but had be left, if it was just that, it would have been just a Tuesday. She lied about a few things, he corrected that, fine, end of story. It's the gravest accusation that escalates this to a completely different level, and I really want to make sure, please tell me you're going to sue her.
Gutless, lying, filthy, degenerate, progressive scumbags.
I don't think there's any winning. And that's, yeah. So I would want you to speak to your experience of that, because I was frankly not going to go and sit in a room with a bunch of men who don't believe in consent.
Or what? What do you think is going to happen? First of all, when you say modern consent, we're talking about how progressives view consent, and they're lunatics. Literally like you. They're lunatics like you are. But secondly, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think they're going to like throw you up on the table and have their way with you in the middle of Santa Barbara, California, while the cameras are rolling live? Is that what you think, Tilly?
Oh, goodness gracious. It's like a Paleolithic. We're back to the Pleistocene, guys.
Spooked.
Yeah. It feels, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like a commentary on platforming in general. And I have very mixed thoughts about platforming, and maybe you disagree. Maybe it is not a platforming. And so,
yeah, remove the maybe. No. It's exactly that. You're not supposed to platform people. They have different ideas because it's the cancel culture, guilty by association extension of, yeah, that's what it is.
Correct me. Am I misunderstanding you in saying it somewhat feels
maybe a little?
No, Kyla, you adult. You're not talking about platforming. She's literally saying that she's afraid that she's going to go down to Santa Barbara, California to do a debate and is going to be ravaged by the hordes of men who can't control themselves because they don't believe in modern forms of consent.
Okay.
Maybe a little, because I'm not big on the argument of you platforming, you're legitimizing these ideas. I think that's actually a really complex and nuanced topic that people slap a big...
Yeah, you're right. The idea of legitimizing someone else's idea by sitting down and talking to them, this is exactly what Charlie Kirk was doing with the other side, but you guys shot him in the neck, didn't you? That is the extreme version. That is the extreme version of you shouldn't legitimize these ideas by sitting down. And by the way, I need to... There are a few commentators that I would like to have a discussion with. A conversation that still talk about this idea of, oh, but you're legitimizing. I have a few names in mind. I've actually sent a couple of emails. We'll see who responds. There might be some videos coming up soon because this really needs to be approached.
Thought terminating cliche of you're legitimizing, you're doing this. I was genuinely just worried that a was engaging in the debate. I think that in this instance, when it comes to men like this, it should be a man who engages in that particular debate. And also, I was literally worried for your physical safety.
I thought we were equal. She said it though. This is an admission of guilt. She's literally saying that when she called him a rapist, now she can't use the defense to say, oh no, but I didn't mean it literally. I meant like a way to call him like a bad man. No. She said she was literally concerned about her physical safety in the presence of the troglodyte, I guess, that can't control his urges and, with a spear, Flint, what are you going to do then if he uses a flint? What you going to do?
Safety. I'm worried for the physical safety of the women who go in person to these podcast environments. I've heard.
Well, Tilly, I wouldn't worry about it. Kyla was so unconcerned about her safety that she brought a case of beer for me into the studio before the debate started and said, I brought this for you.
Oh, my God.
Because I heard you really like beer. Which is true. A very thoughtful gift of Kyla, in fact. Anyway.
That's nice.
I assume that she didn't think that, the person you're calling the R word here. Would you bring a person you thought was the R word a case of beer? I mean, drunk and the R word together? How could I ever possibly control myself, Tilly? Of course, the entire premise is built on the fact that I think if my wife wakes me up with that's not SA. That's not the R word. I know. I get it. I understand. Something's wrong in my head. I honestly don't believe that when my wife wakes me up, I'm dead asleep. I'm completely unconscious to the world. If she wakes me up with I don't think it's the R. I'm sorry. I don't. I know. My ideas are Get out there, man.
I think this connected to the clip that is going viral when they talk about this idea of consent. And personally, I mean, at the end of the day, it all has to do with the relationship you have, how strong of a relationship it is. But particularly when it comes to married couples, it's not like you have to every single day be like, hey, like, let's say that the wine, you got the wine. You got the music, the pasta, everything, the atmosphere, the lights, red lights with the wife, whatever, and then you start kissing. Then you just stop everything, stop the music. Wait, are you consenting? Just making sure. I mean, I think it's obvious. Yeah, if someone says no, I have a headache, fine, drop it, and that's it. It's not that complicated. Personally, I think there is a savoir-faire. There is a connection, an understanding between people that have been. Yeah, of course there's going to be pasta. How do you think I conquered my women? How do you think I conquer women? I make a killer red sauce. You have no idea who you're dealing with. Incredible. Anyways. And so there's that. And I think that's a normal thing to understand that in a relationship. That it's like, yeah, of course, consent is a given unless stated otherwise, like in a situation where you're like, no, I don't feel like it today. Fine, not a problem. Of course, if there is violence in the middle and screaming, I mean, clearly. But then again, I don't know. It's not even a topic that I'm interested in, because even if you are more nuanced, because you understand these things better, than me, than him, whatever, and you're like, you have to be careful because there are these subcategories within the psychoanalytical, whatever the heck. Fine, it doesn't matter because you still shouldn't call him a rapist. That is the core of this discussion, guys. That is the core of this discussion.
Heard horror stories of them forcing you to film for 8-9 hours and then promising you reimbursement, but then they're dragging out the debate until they get until they're satisfied, and only then will they reimburse you. And people
Who is they? I don't negotiate any of these things because it's not my show, and I don't give a fuck what the get paid or don't get paid there. It's none of my business. What the are you talking about, Tilly? What does this have to do with me? And what does it have to do with the horrific R word?
Of course.
What?
It is horrific.
Nothing.
Have been stranded out in the desert trying to get back home because of I've heard.
What desert? Is there a desert in California? Like, I mean it. I'm not trying to be smug. Is there a desert in California? Because usually I imagine palm trees and the waterside. It's kind of beautiful.
Horror stories from so many. Obviously, I'm not going to put them on blast here, but.
Yeah, I mean, why do that when then the people could see that there may be another side to whatever those stories are, and perhaps those...
Oh, there is a desert? Okay, good to know. Thank you, Black Knight. Appreciate that. Santa Barbara? Yeah, I don't know where they are, though. We'll have to see.
Those who are done so dirty may not be being particularly honest about the circumstances in which they found themselves in. Maybe that's the case. But I mean, why tell anybody that? Why actually allow a person to defend themselves from allegations when you can just be sneaky and go behind everybody's back and pretend
Precisely.
it's true, even though you present no evidence that it is at all?
Who've spoken to me personally about their experiences, and none of them have been good. So that
I think her experience was fine. Also, these people are paid, right? So it's a job. Just do your job. If you're paid, I don't know how much they get paid, honestly, to go into these whatever podcast. That's what they're talking about. I don't know when you hit 1 million, but congrats. Thank you, Stress Level. Really appreciate that. What's funny is that YouTube has been unsubscribing people and against their will. So the numbers are actually going down now, which is actually very common. It's happening to a lot of creators. But if we do go under the million and we hit 199,000, then it's a great opportunity, actually. Not that I want it to happen. I prefer to stay higher and perhaps grow. But if it does happen, you see, I'm an individual who sees the positive in anything. You know what that means? That I can actually make another live stream dedicated to hitting the million together, which was one of the most successful live streams I've ever had. I made a lot of money on that because you guys are amazing. You're all gifting it. We're going to get to do it again. I get to hit. Can I order another copy of my, it's over there, the play button, the gold play button. Doesn't look gold because I got a blue light flashing on it. But guys, that could happen. That could happen, my friends.
I disagreed with you going because I was just thinking, oh, what is she doing? Nothing to do with
Do subscribe though. Come on, don't be Muppets.
platforming, you know? Yeah.
So, okay, I've had some bad experiences on whatever according to Tilly. Let's just grant that it's true. What the does that have to do with the R word? What? What is
I
that?
love that he keeps pressure on that. That's exactly the thing that matters. Anything else is subjective, anything else is personal, but the accusation of being a rapist is legal and needs to be addressed.
Have to do with anything? Nothing. Has nothing to do with anything. It's just well poisoning. Very typical female behavior, by the way.
Yeah. So I suppose in my experience, I have a pretty decent working relationship with Brian Atlas, the host. He repaid me. So we negotiated ahead of time that he was going to pay for travel and stay. And he reimbursed me within 24 hours. So I had no reimbursement.
No horror story. Gee, I wonder why.
Issues. Afterwards, he offered to take me out for food. He got food on set, but I've definitely never felt for even a second physically under threat from either of these individuals, like in no way, shape, or form. In fact,
For those of you who are expecting a lot more pushback from Kyla, don't be silly. So
that's fair.
Almost any time Kyla is met with a moral decision, and there's something material to be gained, she almost always will universally make the wrong decision. This is why many people...
I would still give her credit that she did say that she wasn't under threat. But I understand the accusation was horrific. So if someone accused me of that, I would expect someone else to say, why are you saying that? What are you on about? You can't just throw these accusations out. So I understand the position.
People on Twitch used to point at her and call her, and still do, they call her Kyla Maxwell because of her relationship with Destiny and trying to,
goodness gracious.
At least the allegation is, hush up Pixie in the background as she was making the various accusations that Destiny was, without consent, sharing her videos, her
Destiny's a scumbag.
videos with Destiny. So this is all alleged. I'm not saying that this is true. I'm just pointing out that this allegation is there, and it seems to have at least some evidence which backs it up. So never seen Kyla make a good moral decision, not even one time. Never seen it. Whenever she has the opportunity to do the right thing, she almost always universally does exactly the opposite of what the right thing is. So you should not have high expectations for Kyla. I don't. Now let's check in on what some other creators are saying about this situation on the old YouTube.
Now again, I'm not even an Andrew Wilson fan.
That's a good thing. I've been trying to get rid of my female fan base for years, and no matter how much I try, I can't seem to do it. It's because of the voice. Sexiest voice on TikTok, baby.
I've been very critical of Andrew Wilson in the past.
Mean.
But one thing that I'm not about to criticize Andrew Wilson for is for being something that he's not.
Careful, that's precariously close to a logical reasoned position.
Andrew Wilson is a lot of things. He's an asshole.
Hey.
He's inflammatory.
She's right.
He's provocative.
Really not any of those things.
Yes, you are an asshole. And
say-
we need to play Dead or Alive online. You invited me 3 times. We got to play that Dead or Alive match, Andrew. Come on.
What's obvious and factual, and feminists and crazy all over the internet lose their minds.
True.
That's what's actually true.
True. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
So what's the resolution here, ultimately? Well, here's the resolution. I'm a reasonable man.
Okay.
What Tilly said here was unconscionable,
Yes.
and it was horrendous.
Yes.
What I would like for Tilly to do is just make a public video apologizing. It doesn't have to be something in-depth, anything like that.
That's
Just
fair.
retract the allegation.
Yep.
Then apologize and let people know you got the facts wrong. That's all I'm asking for.
Okay.
Nothing major. Now, I'm doing this in the spirit of charitability. I want to be as charitable as I possibly can. Perhaps she got many of her facts wrong due to the fact that she's just a moron. This does happen.
That's reasonable, yeah.
And I'm willing to see past it. However, this is very slanderous and a horrible thing to say about a person.
Absolutely.
And I am actually willing. I've never one time engaged in lawfare. I have been sued, frivolous lawsuits, because people think that I'm loaded or something, but I have never sued anybody. And
I think he is loaded.
I wanted to go my whole life without doing it, but in this case, I will follow action with lawsuit.
I'm with you. Yes, actually, we gotta give it to him. He set this up in the most correct and fair way possible. He's giving her a way out first. He's saying, retract. You need to make an apology video, simple, retract, say, I was wrong. He's not a rapist. I shouldn't have said it. And he's not going to do anything. Absolutely. That's the correct moral thing to do. But if she doesn't, I am so glad he said that. In fact, I want to continue doing this, but 100%. 100%. He's right. I hope, I do hope she does the right thing for once and apologizes. But if she doesn't, I hope he sues the shirt out of her. She has to be annihilated economically. We need repercussions for these people that think it's okay to accuse someone they disagree with politically of crimes. It's gotta end. It's gotta end. Thank you for the support. Love you, Metatron. Watch you for years. First time chatter. Hello. Big fellow history buff. Most passionate about World War II. Very cool. My grandfather served in the Pacific. Would love to share with you his sword he got from soldiers. Oh, goodness gracious. Wow. Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm not really sure. I still have to kind of set up because I do have some emails, but I mostly use them for like sponsors so that they don't get clogged. But I'll figure out a way for like fans of the channel to share stuff with me that it's fun. So totally, I'll let you know. Keep an eye on my community tab where I'll probably post it. Might take me some time because with the wife being pregnant right now, I'm kind of like ultra focused on her. So these side projects take. But I do appreciate. Thank you very much for the support and thank you for watching. And I'm glad to have you here. I'm gonna continue this because I want to see if he's gonna sue her. Can we please sue her?
I did speak to an attorney.
Yes.
They think I have a pretty good case, but I'm going to be completely honest with everybody. If it is the case that I raised money for this lawsuit, do not get your hopes up. Defamation is notoriously difficult to prove, and so is slander. UK standards are a bit better, but it's difficult to do, so don't get your hopes up. I'm just going to be totally upfront and honest with you. If I pursue a lawsuit, the reason I'm doing it is due to the principle of the thing.
Yeah.
In this case, I fully believe 100% that who will say these things on a random podcast is about an individual who they've never met, they don't know anything about, will pursue that, and there's a higher than null likelihood that they will paint other men as being this thing who cannot defend themselves. They don't have the same platform that I do.
Very strong moral basis for this action. You know what? I'm going to say this publicly here. Clip it. If he does sue her because she doesn't do the apology and begins a crowdfunding, I will share that crowdfunding on every single platform that I have. Not that he needs my help. He's a lot more successful than me. And I say very good because I think he's a good man. I know some of you hate him. I don't. I think he's cool. Whatever. We can agree to disagree on this one. With that being said, if he does this, I'll share it. I don't care. Even if that contributes to only 3% of what he actually raises, that will be with my name right there. Every single platform I have, I will contribute to this, to the extent of the reach that I have at that specific moment. So if the channel is resurrected, because my channel is an up and down, sometimes it goes very well, sometimes it goes awful. If it's one of the ups, great. If it's one of the downs, I'll do what I can. I'm doing that. Absolutely, I'm doing that. 100%. I'm going to support him with any way I can. 1,000%.
And so I consider this to be a moral obligation.
Yes.
So I'm going to give her a week. It's the 15th today. I'm going to give her a week. That's 7 days to issue the apology, and then I'll move on, and nobody will ever have to talk about it again, right? I'm a very charitable person, very forgiving person. But if that's not the case, and she refuses to correct the record, she's doubling down, then yeah, I think it's perfectly appropriate to pursue legal action, and I will to the fullest extent of the law, including if it's criminal in the UK, which this very well may be, according to the attorneys that I've talked to there. So,
yeah, and we see here in chat, guys, I don't even know the guy. I'm not ideologically driven. I would donate because of the stance it's on. Absolutely. That's why I was saying this is beyond right, left, up, down, center, Christian, atheist, it's all irrelevant at this point. Do we care about the truth? And if so, do we care about people getting away with accusing another man for political reasons, regardless of what they are, left or right at that point? It only so happens that he's in the right wing, but if he was a left-winger and he was accused of the same thing, a lie is a lie. And it's not okay to do this to him and call him a rapist. So he's set it up perfectly. Respect to him for that. I support that 100%.
It's your choice, Tilly. 100% your choice. So that's what I'm asking for. I think it's completely reasonable.
Yep.
I don't think that Tilly will actually do it because, they always double down, right? People always double down.
Yep.
But those are the facts. So if I put up a GoFundMe and you give to the GoFundMe, there's two things to note there. The first is that I will pursue this as long as there's an avenue to pursue it. My attorneys say there's no more point in pursuing this. I'm not going to, and I will keep the money. And I'll just make that clear. If we go through it and there's no more avenue to go, I'm keeping the difference in cash. I don't know what else to even do at that point. So there's that. The
difference meaning that he would still have to pay the attorneys up to that point. And attorneys are not cheap, but he's being upfront with it. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I would still donate on principle. When it comes to attorneys, I just made a payment of $2,700 to my attorney because of my naturalization. I'm becoming an American citizen, so I'm in the section of the questionnaire now where we are discussing, I filled all the questionnaire that I needed to do, so I needed to pay that. The fee is $1,500, but then there is an extra $700 that it actually goes for fees that don't go directly to the attorney, but they go to the apparatus, if you will, and then there are other taxes and fees that go into it for a total of about $2,700. Keep in mind that I've already spent $7,000 to enter the US legally. That's over a certain amount of years, and generally speaking, legal offices allow for payment plans. I paid it all up front when I came to the United States because I could, thank God, and for blessing me with success when it comes to that, and thank you for your support, of course. But even if people can't really afford it, but they come here legally, they can do a payment plan. It's fine. You can pay like $300 a month, $200 a month, and get it paid over a certain amount of time. So I think by the time I finish my full immigration, I do have a green card, of course, but once I finish both immigration and naturalization, I probably will have spent more than $10,000 on it, probably more than that, over the years, which is one of the things I bring up when people tell me, but what about the families, the illegal immigrants and their families? I'm like, at a human level, I always feel for people in distress, but am I a joke? Because I was separated by my one and only. I had to work for this money that I'm spending. But at the same time, I was separated by my wife for 1.5 years when we were working for on the documentation for my green card and visa. So I was also separated because I went through the legal channel as it is supposed to be done. I did it the right way. I played by the books. So that's the way it goes. There are sacrifices that need to be made. Make the sacrifices. And if it's your spouse that is coming into the United States, imagine that I was the American or I was in Italy and Mackenzie decided, hey, I want to immigrate to Italy. I would have taken 3 jobs as the man to help my wife get into the country legally so she doesn't have to live in fear. That's what I would have done. That would have been my job. And then pay with installment and a payment plan, so maybe it's not too harsh on the family's finances if needed. Once again, I paid it up front, but it depends. That's how it is. And respect to you for not just entering the country legally and saying the firstborn citizens are the problem. No, of course. And even as someone who will get American citizenship, but right now I don't have it, whenever there is something, I always say citizens first. Americans go first and their needs go before me. 100%, because this is their land. This is your land. I'm a guest, and I appreciate that you kindly allowed me to benefit of the amazing infrastructure that you have built. And That's how I was when I immigrated into the United Kingdom when I was a teenager. Completely different United Kingdom to what we have today, though, because we're talking 25, 30 years ago. 30 years ago, in fact. And then likewise, when I immigrated into Japan and lived there for 4 years, I was always respectful. I always wanted to leave the country a better place. Contributed to the economy, paid my taxes. I was kind and polite to people. I tried to respect my neighbors. In fact, sometimes I would give them a little thing from Italy. Like, hey, I brought you something from Italy. I hope you appreciate it. Mozzarella, olive oil, wine, whatever the heck they're into, and left the place better than when I arrived, in the smallest imprint that I could, or footprint that I could leave with my own persona. And that was that. That was that. Thank you, Lapco. A few more bucks to help out. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. There we go. That could go into the naturalization expense. $5 discount. Appreciate. You're the kind of immigrant we want. A boon to the country. Respect to you, good sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you. Very much appreciated. There we go.
Second thing is that that's more likely than not. However, what I will give my word on is that as long as there is an avenue for pursuing legal recourse, and because I believe that there's a moral obligation to do so,
yep,
I'm going to do it until that is no longer available. But that's going to be up to me and not up to you. So do not give, if in any way this conflicts or has some conflict with your moral paradigms or something like this.
That's so strange. I thought he was a grifter. You see, this would be the perfect opportunity to enrich yourself if you actually were a grifter. It seems like he's fighting against his own case now, because he's being very honest about it, to a fault almost. Not that there is anything wrong to being honest to a fault. It's just an expression. But I'm saying, he's literally saying, guys, if you don't feel like donating, because I might not actually end up going through if the case falls, it is what it is at that point, and I'm going to keep the money, just so you know. So don't donate if you have a problem with that. That doesn't sound like a grifter to me. So here we are. Have you voted for the referendum? I got the letters. Yes, I did. I did get the letters. I was actually impressed that the Italian embassy was that efficient in getting me the letters for voting.
But that's what I'm going to be doing. Moving over to Destiny. Destiny put out a tweet saying that he would give $100,000 to the defense of Tilly if...
What a demon. What a demon. You see, this is what happens, guys, when you become ideologically driven, tribalistic in nature. You don't care of right or wrong. And I always try, after the death of Charlie Kirk, it has become very difficult for me to reason with certain people. I'm going to be honest with you. And I don't think I'll ever recover from that. I'm a different person now from how I was before. That was the impact that death and the subsequent laughter and mocking and specific asking or pushing for more violence on their children. Yeah. So there are certain people that I just don't want to have anything to do with. May Satan take them. I don't care. They're already his slaves. I hope that they repent so that they can find their way to Jesus. But if they're going to continue that way, then they'll end up wherever they'll end up. I don't even care. I don't want to have anything to do with people like that. But with that being said, we have to make sure we don't get ideologically driven, because she called him a rapist without evidence. And Destiny's defending her and committing $100,000 to protect her. Then it's a battle between good and evil. It's not even right versus left at that point. It would be the same as I said earlier on, when there were people that were laughing at the death of Rob Reiner, or the other day, I saw people who are supposedly Christian in their bio, but then there was this post on Twitter that was talking about this bus driver who is transgender, and because someone misgendered them, then they ended their own life. And there was this Christian that was laughing, was like, ha ha ha, one less, burn in hell. No. If I was ideologically driven, I would do that, because, Rob Reiner is the enemy. He's a lefty. So, yes, it serves you right to be stabbed by your own drug addict son with your wife. And likewise, this individual ended their own life. Ha ha ha, that's what you get. No, I don't do that. But that's exactly what the likes of Destiny do. because it's ideologically driven, demonic at this point, drive of it's not about good versus right, it's about us versus them. And I will never do that, regardless of my own personal biases. So when I saw that, I felt it was a tragedy what happened to that individual who clearly had severe mental problems. That's clear, because if you end your life because of someone using a pronoun, you really have mental problems. But I feel for them. It's a wasted life, it's a tragedy, and I wish it didn't happen. I wish this individual could have received the care that they needed, the real one, not chopping them off in pieces, but real care to help them resolve these psychic problems so that this hadn't happened. There's nothing to laugh about. Particularly if you're a Christian, you shouldn't laugh about it. And when it comes to Robert Reiner, even though I despise his positions and his ideas, I think he was a scumbag. I'll say it. But when I imagined, like, your own son, drug-addicted son, comes home and stabs you and your wife, maybe even had a few seconds of when he woke up and saw his wife dying and he couldn't help it, I felt for him. At a human level, I felt for him. Who cares if he's a lefty or he's a right-winger? Who cares? He's a human being. But that's the type of people I get in the comments, guys. When I made a live stream about the flood in Texas, I had to block so many people that were saying, good, I'm glad the children in Texas drowned because they were going to grow up to be conservatives anyways. This is scum. This is evil. And so it becomes a battle of good versus evil at this point. Destiny's committing 100,000. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
She was sued for her obvious slanderous and insane and irresponsible comments.
Yes.
This was echoed by America, who Destiny has been a part of. I'm not sure if he is now. I'm guessing probably, but I don't know that for sure. But just remember that this is a spokesman for a progressive organization which really hates my guts in a big way, because I wreck all of their members all the time in debates, and they look really stupid. Now, I'm just going to point this out so that you understand the blatant insanity of all of this. Destiny is under accusation of sharing a photography that he shot at home, a tape that he shot at home, to another woman who he was interested in sparking a relationship up with, and did this without the consent of the woman he shot the original tape with. Pixie, who's a woman I know, I've debated her before. The overwhelming irony of an organization which would enhance that they would defend a woman who made the accusation that I am the R word.
Unbelievable.
While their mascot and head of their organization is alleged to have done these horrible things in regards to consent and is widely known on the internet allegedly as a pest. They call him Pestiny for a reason.
Pestiny.
Due to the fact that he's been accused of impropriety, I don't know how many times, with how many different...
He has to censor those words, otherwise the video gets a yellow dollar sign and he will make no money. But anyways, the words were like prawn, grape, pornography, that kind of stuff. Those are the words.
Many of them, by their own admission, mentally ill. Now, of course, this is all alleged, but the lore there is very deep, and much of it he wouldn't even run away from.
Yep.
Versus me. I have not ever even had an accusation of impropriety. I'm not even talking about the R word or SA or any of that. I haven't even had an accusation of impropriety from any online ever, because there is no impropriety to accuse me of. This is before we ever get to inappropriate touching or any of the crazy that men often are accused of. I've not even been accused of having an inappropriate text message. And yet the organization, which is enhancing this message, the organization which has a mascot who's under accusation for consent-based crimes, this is the organization that wants to fight me tooth and nail. This is why I tell you progressives are lunatics. They're lunatics. Lastly, my online presence is significant. I understand that. I often do what I can to minimize its impact on other people. I often enhance much smaller creators than myself to give them an opportunity, even if they're on the opposite side of the political spectrum. I've always been this way. I'm going to ask now for your help. For content.
You got it. You got it, 100%. If he sues her and he does a crowdfunding, I'm on it. I'm on his side, 100%. Guaranteed, guys. Guaranteed. So that's also why I wanted to react to this. It's the injustice at this point. You can't just call someone and accuse them of a crime and get away with it. And then with the backing of the other clown who's going to put $100,000 Destiny. Can you imagine how much money these people make? Who gives, like, who are these regular Joes that work 9 to 5s and give money to someone like Destiny who is enriching on their backs and getting rich while being one of the most disgusting human beings together with Piker Boy that you can imagine? I just don't get it. But I guess it's just one of those situations that happen in this corrupt world, and that's where we are at, my friends. So today, what a day. What a stream, my friends. Goodness gracious, what have we... Maybe I'm a little close. I'm a little too close to the camera. But holy moly. What a crazy situation. Let me check chat. Let me also... So we reacted to Professor Dave's lies. It's going to be edited and posted tomorrow, by the way, for those who want to support the video so that it gets some decent views tomorrow. I'm going to edit. I'm going to post the video response to Professor Dave. We're going to make it snappier. We're going to make it better. And then we'll post it as its own video as a stream extract, which has been improved upon. And we'll do that tomorrow. So please remember to, if you don't get a notification, come check the channel tomorrow, maybe around 4-ish, 3. Come check in Central Standard Time. Come check it and be like, oh, here's the video about Professor Dave, the night's regular video. Let's give it a like. Let's give it a subscription. Let's share it. Let's leave a comment. Do that, because I think it's yeah, we need to hit back these people. Lies, no more. We need to start hitting back. Good stuff. All right, so I think it's about time for me to engage a little bit with chat, and then I would love, while we get our castles background, because we love castles, and you say, Christ is King, amen, brother. And you hope she loses? Me too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hail to thee, Metatron, and the chat. Hello, Tokumei. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate that. Destiny spends $4,000 a month just for personal cook. Oh gosh. Destiny Stephen Bonnell, His Majesty Stephen Bonnell the 16th. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's true, but if it is, oh gosh. And you know, don't be jealous though, guys. Don't be jealous, because it doesn't matter. He may have the money, but what does he have? His own son hates him. He doesn't have a loving wife. His life is poisonous politics every day. He's hated by so many people. Like, what's it? It's at this point, I prefer to have a... Like, yeah, I want to have some financial stability. You being a part of that, I appreciate that. All of you subscribing on Twitch and YouTube and all that stuff, I appreciate that. But I'd rather have just regular, like, if everything is fine, we don't have to worry. I prefer that rather than being like, oh, I'm so rich, I can have my own $4,000 personal cook. But then, yeah, my own son hates me. My wife went with this other dude. Absolutely not. No, I don't need the money with that level. I don't care, honestly. I honestly don't need that. So don't be jealous. Don't be envious. There's no point. You probably have everything. You probably have everything, and this guy doesn't. I personally think I have everything I want. I've got my little computer here. It's beautiful. Look at this. It's a 1998 computer, Windows, and I play Diablo original on this one, and I play a few other games that are Heroes of Might and Magic 3, and I'm happy with it. I don't need a freaking yacht. Who needs the yacht? This is my yacht. I've got a loving wife. She made fantastic bread. sourdough, and we're gonna have a child and all that. I've got you guys. Fine, everything is good. I've got Jesus. I've got everything I need. I don't need the extra money. If I get it, I thank the Lord for the blessing. If not, it's fine. We'll make do. That's how it's gonna be for me. You spend £100 a month for food, man. That is a conservative estimate right there. No, in the US, I mean, the prices have gone up. So I think we do spend quite a bit of money also because we do order a bit more than usual, particularly when I'm busy with the streams. Sometimes it's easier to just be like, I don't know, just order a pizza, or I don't know, just order this and that. And of course, that's expensive. And I'll be honest, I am a little bitchy when it comes to, it's got to be the right Italian olive oil, even if I'm going to have to pay for it. A little bit of an up, I need my real stuff. I need my real stuff when it comes to Italian food that we make at home. But apart from that, I'm not a man of luxury. My luxury is my retro gaming, my floppy disk with battle chess for Amiga 500, and my helmets. That's my luxury, guys. That's my luxury. What do you think about Italian markets over here? I don't think I've ever been to an Italian market in America, credibility. I've been to Italian restaurants, but not really a market. So I would have to find one, I guess. Thank you, Lapco, for the support. Great Roman cement video. That is the video I made for members on my YouTube channel. So if you like the idea of like, a video about Roman cement, yeah, I do make members-only content as well as a way to say thank you to the people to support. And I thought, if I say so myself, I thought the video was interesting indeed with the research, so do go check it out. Can you please do a video on ancient Roman weather stripping and a 5-hour deep dive of medieval Norse longhouse insulation? I do, believe it or not, have actually a video on Norse house insulation. And it's a small video, and it would be fascinating, maybe not 5 hours, but it would be fascinating to go deeper on that, because it is an interesting topic. What a throwback, you say? What about, then, Megalomania for Amiga 500? What a game. Still in perfect working condition. I always say this. Some conspiracies I think are nonsense, like the moon landing conspiracy. I think we did go to the moon. Some conspiracies I do believe are true, or sometimes come to be true. But if there is one conspiracy I'm like almost convinced is true, is planned obsolescence with technology. Because how is it possible that I've got never mind the 1998 computer with the original CRT, I've got a 1977 working PET from Commodore. How is this stuff still working? We were told that these discs and the VHS, they're gonna die in 20 years. Here we are. Like freaking 40 years later, and this stuff still works. Then I buy a monitor, modern, and it dies after 2 years. Now, given, I understand the complexity of the parts. Although then again, I mean, some of the stuff from the 50s have vacuum tubes in it. And some of it still works if you, whatever. And even these computers, I mean, yeah, you might need to do a little bit of maintenance sometimes when it comes to, I do have a fully serviced Commodore 64, but I had a recapping, and when you hear the word recap, it means that the capacitors have been changed because they can fail. But I have some original hardware. I didn't even need to recap. Original transistors. It still works. How? How is that possible? So I don't know, guys. It's because if you think about it, it's how it is. Oh, new iPhone. New iPhone. You can get it if you switch and the payment plan, so that you feel like, I'm getting an iPhone. I'm not even paying for it. It's only $40 a month, $50 a month, right, for the rest of your life. Because every year, for some reasons, they tell you that your perfectly working, functional camera, for some reasons, needs a better version of it. Does it, though? It's perfectly working phone, perfectly. Oh, yeah, you do have a 4K Ultra HD monitor, but this one is curved? Huh? Come on, look at that curve. You want it. You need it. You need to update your throw away your perfectly working TV, because this one bends. This one bends, guys. So, call me a conspiracy theorist if you want, but to me, it's part of the marketing scheme, because they want you to continuously consume. And also because, to be honest, whenever we look at Middle Ages, look at these castles, people that lived in these castles, like medieval tailors, they were fantastic at repairing stuff. We don't repair shit. Whenever, I need a new pair of jeans. I need a new shirt because it has one single hole. And to be honest, this is not just a difference between us and medieval people. It's a difference between us and our grandparents. Our grandparents were repairing everything. We throw away anything. We just throw away, consume, burn. The economy keeps rolling like this, like crazy, and here we are. You got an iPhone 10. It's medieval. Holy moly. 1950s commercial freezers fetch a high price because they work like beasts. I love the 1950s, by the way. I think it has the best aesthetic when it comes to clothing. You can't beat it. Fashion. You can't beat it. Oh my gosh, look at this. I think it's unbeatable. Not only you have the sleek jacket and tie man, for some reasons we need to reload it, with a hat. I think we should have never removed the hat. But the way the women are dressed is still kind of, it's different, of course, but still reminiscent of that massive division that you had between genders when it comes to men and women and the way we dressed historically. Now we just wear t-shirt and jeans, both. And yeah, I freaking love the 50s. I don't know what to tell you. I think they've got the best fashion. Best fashion. Absolutely. Best fashion. That's why I actually enjoy games like Fallout, because it has a 50s aesthetic, even though it's like you got the nuke. So it's kind of a mixture a little bit, but it does have the 50s aesthetic and the robots and this topic a little bit. But I love it. I love the Fallout series because of that. And Fallout 4, I love the beginning before the nuke. I love the beginning where you walk around. I wish you could like go out and maybe kind of interact with neighbors before the nuke happens. I think that would have been really cool. I wonder if there is a mod that allows you to do that. I think that would be awesome, to be honest, because I freaking love the little TV. And by the way, that kind of technology was freaking alien inside. If you open one of those, it looks like alien technology. Thank you, Matthew, for the support. You miss Pong? Yeah, Pong is what introduced me to gaming. Reason why moon landing conspiracy is dumb is because thousands work for NASA. Bigger the group that has to keep the secret, harder it is to keep secret. Not only that's true, but for me, the thing that really is the nail to the coffin is not only that every single employee at NASA would have to keep the secret and play along with it, but you could argue and say, yeah, but they were blackmailed, all of them. They said, if you speak, I'm going to take you out, so your family, so whatever. Right. But why did the USSR play along? Or the Chinese? How did you get the enemy who would have absolutely benefited from America's scam to be revealed? Why did they play along? How did you manage that? Like at this point, you need to kind of go into New World Order. There is an actual invisible government. There is a single king of the earth that we don't know. Like you need to go so much deeper with the layers and kind of connect to a lot of other things. Because that's the problem. The entire world went along with it and didn't say it. They didn't deny it. Why did they do that? It only benefited the US to say, look at us. We reached the moon. And one step for man. What are your thoughts on Saint Aquinas? Very deep thinker. And doctrinally, it's a very deep one to discuss. So maybe it could be cool to make a video about that, but I know that YouTube would punish that. Maybe for members, we could look into it. It was compartmentalized, bro, like the Manhattan Project. Yeah, I mean, of course, everything is ultra compartmentalized I imagine, in government operations. I can see that. Still, compartmentalization doesn't excuse why the Russians didn't show it. Why didn't they invest resources to be like, look at the Americans? They didn't actually get there. Let's take that away from them, even though they spent so much money. If they failed and the public came to know, that would destabilize. Like, what do you mean you put like millions and millions of dollars from tax-paying dollars for this? Not to mention, I mean, Elon Musk says that he's going to set up a colony on the moon before Mars because it's easier, and then they can kind of depart from the moon and begin the operation towards Mars, because it takes like 6 months to get to Mars, but it takes a few days to get to the moon. And yeah, he'll be able to tell us. We'll see. But then again, conspiratorial people will say, oh, they planted the flag. But come on, it's a flag from the freaking 60s at that point. Like, what are we even doing here? Yeah, no, I do think that I have no reason to believe right now that we faked the moon landing. And the only way for me to be like, you know what, I was wrong. The moon landing was faked. You've got to have to bring me like some proper evidence, like proper real evidence. And then at that point, I'll be like, you know, you convinced me. But as of now, I do not believe it. I mean, the Soviets playing along with it. Oh, come on. The Soviets playing along with the Americans. Yeah. On what planet? Not this one. I can tell you that much. I hope I get to go to space before I die, says Last Europa's Kiss. Would you guys go? Would you guys go to the moon if it was guaranteed, like, for you? And by the way, when it comes to the colony on Mars, one thing that Musk said, because I find it fascinating, the whole colonization idea of solar system. And I do hope it's something, I think we will see it. I think we'll see the colony on the moon first. And then eventually, maybe, I don't know, 2040s, it depends AI, how much it helps, 2050s maybe, but maybe 2040s. We will see a colony on Mars. And Elon Musk has already said he's going to give incentives to people to go. So I can imagine if he wants to populate it, he has ways, he has means. He can always say to people who are like drowning in debt here, or don't have a job, don't know what to do, don't have connections to family, or maybe they do, but the entire family, I don't know what to do. And then Elon Musk tells you your debt will be cleared and we'll give you a fresh start, we'll give you a job. You just got to go to Mars. I think there will be people that will go. Would you go though? To the moon would be nice. If they made a trip that is affordable to the moon, I think I'd do it, to go and see it. Also to look back at the Earth and now to be, well, then again, I was going to say to prove the flat earth is wrong, but it doesn't matter because then they would say that I'm a paid agent. As they have already said, by the way, flat earthers already said publicly on a few videos that I am getting paid to say that, to me, I don't believe in flat earth, and neither did medieval people, by the way, nor people in classical antiquity. And they already said that I'm being paid by someone, by some authorities, but I don't know who. And I would like to know who. And I also would like to know which account is receiving the payment, because I have to believe that the payment is substantial. So if you could tell me, please, where the government is sending tens of thousands of dollars to so that I can say that that flat earth is nonsense, I would like to know where the payment is so that I can access this money. Because I really wouldn't mind, considering all the expenses in these days. You know, a child is not inexpensive, so I wouldn't mind at this point. If the payments are already been made, then might as well take it. Am I right? So there is that. That's a good question. How do aliens actually fit the Christian belief system? The way you can make it fit, there are various ways. Some people within the Christian faith will say aliens are demons. And so that's how they fit it into the belief system. They see it through the spectrum of faith. Others say aliens are angels. So that's another way to say it. It's less common, but I've seen it. I've seen people saying that they're angels, actually. And that's when you see the light in the sky, whatever, it's an actual angel. So that's how it fits. But another way, which would be mine, I don't believe either. I think that, God created an entire universe so massive just to populate a single planet, maybe, but I don't see it contrasting with my faith to think that his glory is greater than what we even thought. So I would think that these aliens are still made in his image. But then again, that doesn't mean that they're going to look exactly like us, because even on planet Earth, we are all made in his image, and yet we look differently because the environment shapes the way we look, right? With some of us have darker skin, some of us have lighter skin, some of us have blue eyes, green eyes, bigger head, smaller head, more muscle, less muscle. So even more so, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a core that is made on his image, but then who knows, they could look wildly different from us because it's an alien flora, an alien fauna, and fauna, and all the rest. So even that, I don't have a problem with. And it would give him, to be honest, even more glory. I don't see it as a problem. Now, are we allowed to interact? Who knows? Maybe there is a rule that we're not going to be allowed to interact, or maybe we are allowed to interact, or maybe we have already interacted in the past. Who knows? I don't have the answer to that, and I prefer to not come up with an answer if I don't have it. or if I don't have anything that I could substantiate my belief system on. But I don't see it as a conflict. I do believe that it's very likely that there are other civilizations out there mathematically. And that's how I reconcile it with my faith. The idea is, why would I put a limitation on the creative power of the maker? I don't, personally. So I would be ready to accept any truth that is proven to me by evidence, and I could easily reconcile any of those outcomes. We are the only species. Okay, fine. Then he just decided to create here. Okay. And then if we're not the only species, then fine, he decided to create out there. It doesn't necessarily contrast it, for me. So aliens have souls. At that point, yeah, but then again, we would have to define, again, what a soul is. Depends on the denomination at that point. To me, if you think about it, I personally think not only the human beings all have souls, but I also think animals have souls. I'm one of those who believes this. Not everyone believes that, not everyone shares that belief. And in fact, there are people that even go as drastic as saying, you don't have a soul unless, like, you're a Christian. That's nonsense. We all have souls. I've heard people say that. That's nonsense. To me, the soul is what makes you alive, basically. So if they are alive, unless they are robotic, if they are like the remnant of a civilization that tried to go from biological to mechanical, they created artificial intelligence and then they were wiped out, and what reaches us is artificial intelligence, then no, I don't believe that would have a soul. It would be a machine at that point. It would be an imitation of what life actually is, but it's not biological by any sense of definition. But if they are biological, then I do think they would have a soul, yes. That's what I would believe. All sentient beings have a soul. That's the way I feel. Yes, I think it's an innate aspect of what sentient is, which, by the way, we still haven't figured out. Whether it be philosophy, whether it be science, or whether it be religion, no one knows what sentience actually is. We all know what it means to be sentient because we are all sentient, but when you try to define it, we can't. And we can try to find approximation to tell you what we feel sentience, what being sentient is when we know that we are alive. But what does it truly mean? We all escape it. And it's another fascinating aspect. Maybe we will one day be able to define what sentient is. But here we are. My cat definitely has a soul. I love that belief system, to be honest. I find it comforting, among other things. The idea that animals, when they die, they go somewhere, like us. And so maybe we'll reunite to them in the next life. I like thinking that. It's a thought process that I enjoy, personally. I can't prove it biblically, so I'm not saying, guys, this is doctrine. No, it's just my own personal idea on this. So let me see. Do you think plants have souls? No, but I would express that because they are alive. So I would not be against, you might find this outlandish, but then again, anything that is faith is going to be outlandish for someone else, right? So before I give you the answer to that, to an atheist, the fact that me and you, if we are Christian, believe in the resurrection is already outlandish. So whatever other belief that I may have that you don't share, if you think that that's outlandish, then you will be in the same position as the atheist is. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Well, I don't think there is one belief that is more insane than another, or that needs to be justified. Oh, but how can you even believe in that? I mean, again, I believe in the resurrection, so I already believe in something that doesn't occur biologically, and it is something that is supernatural in a way. So anyways, yeah, I don't believe that a single tree has a soul, but I'm not against the idea of a planet having a soul. And therefore, just like I have, right, this is my body, and I have hair. Is the hair that has the soul? No, it's me, I have the soul. So the planet has the soul, and the grass is the hair, and so are the trees. That's how I see it. Which, if you think about it, we humans are submerged in water because of the baptism. The planet did have a flood. It was baptized, just like us. If you want to look at it that way, it's a little symbolic, I guess. So that would also check out. And the other thing is that the baptism of fire that we often, the receiving of the Holy Spirit, well, the planet will have to go through that as well. It is Christian doctrine that will happen, with the second coming, or if you want to, some people call it rapture. I'm not sure I agree with everything. I don't, in fact, agree with every position that like Baptists have when it comes to the rapture. But in general, Holy Ghost and the baptism of fire will happen to us as well. So I don't see it wrong. So I'm not saying that that's what I believe, but I'm saying I wouldn't think a single plant has a soul, but I would imagine maybe the planet does. But who knows? Who the heck knows what's in the center of a planet anyways, apart from the solid core of iron? And you ask, does God have a soul? I sometimes think he does not, can't explain. Well, yes, he would be the greatest of all souls. So I would say yes, absolutely. I don't even know why we went into a doctrinal discussion, but here we are. Why not? But I do want to move on to another section now. Let me see where we are at, just checking. Okay, thank you for your support, by the way. Thank you for your generous donations. I really appreciate that. Do remember, one thing, I need to give you this link before I forget, because I'm a Muppet and I don't know what I'm doing, which is a reality when it comes to like social media and stuff. Everyone knows what they're doing, even young people. They're all cool. We don't need the music. They're all like on the spot. They're on the spot when it comes to link to this and check that and subscribe to this. I'm like on the spot all over the place. But I did remember this. I'm going to give you the link to my Twitch channel. Because if you like these streams, and also the ones where we just talk about stuff, or the ones where we play video games, then I'm going to give you the link to Twitch, because I do go live every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so if you want, you could come and follow me and stop being Muppets, so that you can join the others' live streams. Because on the channel on YouTube, I just go live on Fridays, because unfortunately I appear to be penalized by the algorithm if I go live more often than that. I might try occasionally to do like, hey, let's try Wednesday stream, see what happens. Let's try Sunday stream, see what happens. So those might happen. But for now, we're sticking to once a week. Every Friday we go live like today. Thank you, Matthew, for the support. There is a difference between soul and spirit. We are created in the image of God. God has body, Jesus soul, God the Father, and Spirit, Holy Spirit. I can see that. Animals have souls, but not spirit. The spirit is what allows connection to God. Okay, well, that's an interesting way to look at it. And I've seen other people say the distinction between spirit and soul. I wonder, because at the end of the day, if you really want to go biblical about it, then the word spirit is not even in the Bible when it comes to the Old Testament, because the original Hebrew word is wind. That's the word. So when you see that they say, and then the Spirit of the Lord lifted me up into the clouds, it actually says the wind of Yahweh. That's what it says. It's the wind in the Bible. So I'm not sure I would go necessarily. I respect your belief, and maybe you're right, doctrinally, I don't know. But I'm saying usually I don't necessarily go into spirit means this, soul means that, because all of that is non-existent in the Bible. It just talks about the wind. So at that point, or the breath as well. So I'm not too pedantic, believe it or not, when it comes to the inner meaning of spirit and soul. Nothing wrong if you are, and that's what you want to do. It's fine for argumentation, but if we were to look into it that way, then literally the Bible just mentions wind. And in fact, it's interesting because the wind and a lot of noise precedes the arrival of the angels. In every time I love the Old Testament, by the way. I freaking love it. The New Testament is more significant to me personally because of the Savior, but I do love the Old Testament. When you really go into it, it's really, really deep, apart from the poetic beauty of it. But also the when you really go deeply into it and you look at the words used, as I was saying, there is this one thing I love is how the seraphs or seraphim, high class of angels, how they are described, or celestial beings maybe is better, because angels, sometimes we think of the malachim or malachim, they are the ones that kind of look like us, although when they arrive, the prophets in the Bible distinguish them from afar. They're like, oh, it's two of them. So even the malachim, the one that translate as angels, meaning messengers, The ones that look like us, they're human. They don't have like 15 wings and then 3 heads and that kind of stuff and glittering bodies with gold. No, the ones that kind of look like humans, even those, they could distinguish them afar and say, those are Malachim in the Bible if you read it. So even those had something different to them. But apart from those, if you look the seraphs, I love the seraphs because they never sleep and they have a constant humming. And when they guard the tent in the desert, and they're guarding the tent where Elohim resides, they have this constant humming that they produce. And whenever I imagine that, I'm thinking, holy moly, also because they are the fiery ones. I love it. I freaking love it. I could talk about angels in the Bible like every day, all day. I freaking love it. Thank you very much. Dropped spaghetti the other day and broke it. Oh no. That's the cardinal sin, my friend. Didn't mean to. Do I have to recite some Hail Marys or something? Catholics would probably say that. As someone brought up Roman Catholic. Now I just prefer to call myself a Christian because there are things about Catholicism, precisely like, say, 15 Hail Marys. No, I think it's sufficient to do one single prayer per minute. But that's just me. Or something. I try to take Catholic seriously, but then I read about relics like the Holy Prepuce. Yeah, the whole relic thing sometimes is a little excessive in Catholicism, but there are also plenty of well-meaning people in Catholicism, my mom being one of them, that regardless of maybe some things that I myself wouldn't really agree with, their faith is real. And I think that that's the part that really matters, the core aspect of the faith. And then the other things we can talk about. Harmonic resonance. I love that sound, that word to describe it. Yeah. Cool stuff. Yeah, the rings with many rings. Those are the Ophanim in the Bible, the rings inside other rings. But he also says that they have a spirit, but the spirit is separate. It's in the middle. And then sometimes as they move, the spirit moves, then the rings follow, and then they rotate in place. Freaking love it. Yeah. Let me see. I think one thing I would like to do, maybe on one of our next streams next week, I'd love to continue Resident Evil Requiem because that game slaps. I don't know if you guys had a chance. I've already kind of released the first 3 hours of gameplay on my gaming channel, Metatron's Protectorate, shameless plug. And so it's there. We did it live. We played. It was fun. Then we played another hour. But then I got tired during a stream and I was like, guys, I'm going to call it a night. So I did that. But I love the game. I love that game. So that's one game I want to continue playing. I don't know if I'm going to play the entire thing, though. Because there is... My favorite sections are the ones with Grace, believe it or not. The ones with the parts with Leon, they're fun because there is a lot of combat. I kind of like... I think I'm more the kind of guy who loves horror games where you need to kind of hide and be more careful rather than you go through and annihilate all of them because you're badass. I like it too. But that's one of the reasons why I play so many indie games, because usually they offer that approach, which is more like psychological in nature. So anyways, out of the two, I love both characters clearly, but Grace... Those sections are the ones, the house, the massive mansion that you play through. I love that. That looks amazing. That looks amazing. Oh, yeah. So you'll have to give me 1 second because I need to download. I need 2 seconds, guys. So I need to post on my second channel before it's too late. I hope you don't mind. We do a little bit of behind the scenes. So give me 1 second. And my wife just made the thumbnail for me because she knew I couldn't do it. So I'm going to download the video very quickly so we can upload it as we speak. And then we can post it. Because I gotta post. A man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Posting every day on the main channel and every day on the second. That's a lot of videos, my friends. I'm actually considering starting to post... twice a day on the main channel here again, because I did film like a maniac, like multiple videos in batches of 9, and the reason why I did that is because, of course, my wife is gonna have a child soon, and so when that happens, I want to be able to spend time with the wife, help her out, but I also don't want to stop posting on the channels because that's how I pay my mortgage, right? And so what that means is that I needed to produce a lot of videos in advance, together with the extracts from the streams that can be edited separately, and I have a lot of back catalog filmed. So that if I need to take some days, I'm like, I can't film today, I can't film tomorrow, it's going to be okay because I've got a lot of videos to do that. But I kind of overdid it. So I have so many videos that I'm actually thinking that it might be the case for some time to start posting twice a day again on the main channel, because otherwise some of those videos might become irrelevant if they have a little bit of a time concern to them or a time aspect to them. So that might happen relatively soon. We might switch to posting twice a day for some time, which is always a good boost anyways when it comes to revenue anyways, because in my experience, when you increase average uploads, the number of videos you actually post, when you increase them, the average views tend to go down a little bit. One moment. But the revenue goes up. So at the end of the day, I know that then my haters are going to use that against me and say, look, dead channel. I mean, they can call it dead channel all they want, but at the end of the day, if what I receive in my bank account is higher by a factor of 4, who cares? They can say whatever they want. If it helps me sleep at night to think that I am struggling because the views are low, they don't understand that it's all about total views. It's not a matter of, I want to tell you that as well, in case you are considering starting a channel of your own. You don't have to worry about single upload views. You have to worry about total amount of views when it comes to the space of 30 days. And when you post a lot, that usually tends to go up, even if the average upload views go down. It's just a factor. It's a fact. It's a mathematical fact. It's what happens. And so I'm considering doing that. Now, I also like producing content that is high quality, scripted, and I do that. That's why I posted my Can You Be Racist to White People that took 2 months to put together. And it's very scripted and researched and all that. I still do that, but these videos take time. And imagine if I only posted once a month, I couldn't pay my bills. So I prefer to still post a very, very high quality video, but surrounded with a mountain of videos that are easy to make. And that's the best way to do it. Okay, so the video is uploading, my friends. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it. Video is uploading. We need to add the thumbnail. Yeah, you would have nothing to watch. I can understand that. So that's also a thing. I know some of you appreciate the continuous uploads when you know, hey, I know if I don't have anything to do today, or maybe I need to do a job that is boring, I know I will find new content from Metatron every day. It doesn't matter when I click. And I know some people like it because I like it from other creators that I follow. I've got a few creators that I watch. They tend to post a lot. And that helps because I know, I got a new video today to watch. I kind of enjoy it. And yeah. All right, let me add the thumbnail. We're adding the thumbnail, guys. Adding the thumbnail. Let me get the thumbnail. So, So I'm clicking. Download. There we go. So now we add the thumbnail to the upload. Very important, right? Very important to get the right thumbnail. She did a fantastic job. Okay, now tags, language learning, and languages. Okay, and we're good to go. Save. All right, let me check monetization super fast to make sure that the ads have been placed, because sometimes the AI doesn't place them. Not yet, so I'm going to have to wait on that a little bit. But that's okay. All right, guys. Time for you now. Let me check what you're saying. Let me see. So you were asking, have you read the rabbinical copy of the Stone edition of the Chumash yet? It's a fascinating read. No, I haven't. Not really, no. Metatron, could you make content about leftist history rewriting? Oh, goodness gracious, I got to see an entire series about that. You got a lot of stuff about that, mate, on this channel. I'm so obsessed with watching the UK Islam takeover videos right now. I'm actually, one of the videos that I'm putting together that is requiring more research is Christianity versus Islam. I'm going to talk about the history of that. So that's happening. I'm not sure how long because I need to work on it and on the background whenever I have a little time in the evening, also because I'm writing my book, which I will give an update on soon. There'll be a video update on the book, but yeah, very busy. Better busy than bored, am I right? Deus Vult, yep. I'd like to cover do a series on the Crusades as well. That would be nice. Talking about that. You know how it could work well? It could work well because I could react while I'm preparing it. I could react to a couple of videos of people who have made videos about the Crusades, so we can get a few reaction videos. And in the meantime, whenever they say something that I find interesting, I could write it down into the script and then double check it. So I can see what are people saying. So that on my own video, not only I make my own presentation on those historical aspects that I want to review and the research, but I can also address at the same time, yes, but people make these statements. Since I am dedicating a lot of time into the research, we could also see if these are founded or not. So I think it would be a good combination to do a few React videos, and then in the meantime, in the background, we can build our own video, research video on the Crusades. And of course, I get to dress up like a knight, because of course I'm going to do that. It's always a good day to dress up like a knight, am I right? Off topic, Metatron, who do you think is the most overrated historical era, and which civilization in general? Oh, overrated. It's difficult for me to say, because to be overrated, it means it has to be in the public eye. So I can't like talk about something that is kind of obscure. But when it comes to the prevalent ones, Romans, Greeks, Sumerians, Chinese, all of these, I think that I wouldn't call them overrated. So I wouldn't know. Historical era. What is an historical era that is over? Maybe the Victorian period is one that I'm not a huge fan of personally, but then again, whether or not it's overrated, it's a different discussion then, isn't it? Still running the checks on the video. Good night, the user formerly known as. Appreciate you for being here. You've been in, Kevin Rutledge says, I've been into archaeology since I was a kid. That's very nice. I love to hear that. Me, not when I was a kid. I was into languages when I was a kid, but archaeology and history, I had to kind of grow up a little bit before getting really into it. But eventually I was. Goodness gracious, if I was. Ottoman Empire, maybe. Oh yeah, if it's a Sam Piker talking about it, then yes, it's definitely overrated. 100%. Oh, you're wearing the shirt, Deus Vult. Thank you very much, Credibility 1988. Appreciate that. Dressing up like a knight, surely you joust? No, I've never jousted. That would be cool, but honestly, in Sicily, who the heck would I joust with? Maybe in the US it would be cool to do, but I mean, yeah, it's a skill. It's not something that I would just jump on a horse. I know how to ride a horse, but it's different from riding a horse on a little, what do you call it? Trotto? I don't know how you say that in English. But anyways, a little slowly enjoying the fresh wind while you're wearing armor, fine, it's one thing. But you have to train for years to go into that kind of battle, not battle, but combat situation. And it is risky anyways. So I think right now I'm in a position in my life where I got a child and a wife. I probably wouldn't do it right now. I wouldn't do any. I used to be into all sorts of like, oh, I like combat sports. I always sucked at them, by the way, but I enjoyed it. I did my Kyokushin karate, full contact. I loved all of that stuff when I was a kid. Taekwondo, I tried it. And I wouldn't do it now, though, because what if you do get an injury and you got people depending on you? And if you do, it's fine. That's your career path. I can respect that. But personally, I'm in a position now when I would try to minimize any possibility of anything happening to me. And so I would choose not only a passion, a sport, but also a job accordingly. That's what I would do, unless I have to. Like if I have to, because that's my career and I have to be, I'm a cop or a firefighter, much respect for you. But if I get a choice, I would specifically choose the thing that has the least amount of chance of something happening to me because of how people depend on me. As a Sicilian, what's your opinion on the bridge of the Messina Strait? Yeah, that's a mirage. They've been telling us it was going to be built, and I don't think they're ever going to build it. Are they ever going to build it? Maybe. I mean, I know that every single time I had to leave Sicily and go to Italy, unless I was boarding a plane, of course, I did it the old-fashioned way, which is you hop on a train in Palermo. The train goes through northern Sicily, takes about 2 hours, and then you reach Messina, and then the train goes inside a boat, and inside the lower part of the boat, these are called traghetti, the lower section of the boat actually has railway built into them, or railroad, inside the boat, so that the trains, multiple trains in fact, can enter inside these massive boats, and then these boats you pay, and then these boats cross the Stretto di Messina, and you reach Calabria. You reach the toe of the Italian peninsula, and then, during the little trip that lasts about 40 to 45 minutes, I've done it a million times, during the trip you can enjoy the boat because it offers restaurant, pasta, arancine, cannoli, all sorts of food, and a little music sometimes, depends. They're not fancy, but they're fine. And so you can enjoy that. You can look at the sea, maybe sit on a little bench, and then once it's getting close to docking at the pier, then you re-enter the train. Hopefully you can find it again, and you get into the train and you resume your journey through, I don't know if you're riding Frecciarossa, Red Arrow, which is the trains that connect the south to the rest of mainland. You resume the journey. That's how it works. As a Sicilian, I've done it a million times. It's actually pleasant. I like it. I like the traghetti experience. But yeah, if they made the bridge, I guess, I don't think they're ever going to make it. Too much money involved. But thank you for the question. Appreciate that. Very much appreciated the question. Man, it's still running checks. YouTube. Oh, you say trot. Okay, in English, that's a word, to trot. It's very similar then. Cool. It's good to know how to fight and defend yourself, in my opinion. True. I agree with that. I trust a Glock more, but sure. I actually want to get into jujutsu. That's cool. I love jujutsu. Or jujitsu. Believe it or not, they're both correct pronunciation in Japanese, but no one in Japan says jujitsu. I can say that because I lived in Japan. No one. They say jujutsu in Japan. So that, or jujutsu, like the pitch is a different matter. But the pronunciation, the I spelling, I don't know why it became so popular in the West, but it did for some reasons. But in fact, the one with the U is the most commonly used by the Japanese. Been working on the pitch, by the way, lately. I love spending my evenings listening to the pitch in Japanese and trying to correct mine, because if you're not into Japanese, you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you do know what I'm talking about, then of the 4 patterns, Atamadaka, Odaka, Nakadaka, and Heiban, my Odaka pattern is non-existent. The others, I actually picked some relatively naturally and organically in Japan, although sometimes I switch in a way that it's stupid. Or like when they conjugate, I start messing up my pitch. But if you have a lot of words like daigaku, gakusei, kazoku, ongaku, these I kind of picked up because I noticed them. But the Odaka pattern, the fact that I'm supposed to say heta desu instead of heta desu, yeah, no way. I had no idea. I lived in Japan 4 years. I probably didn't pick up. What I did is that I incorrectly mapped all Odaka patterns into Heiban. So I have to retroactively correct them now. It is what it is, though. I mean, one word by word, we're working on it. Okay, you were saying is it like Aikijutsu and Aikido? No, that's a different story, actually. You say both are the same art. Believe it or not, Aikijutsu is the ancient one, and Aikido is the more modern version. So Aikido could be connected with like Judo, Karate-do. The do is the arts. The ones with jutsu, like Kenjutsu, Aikijutsu, Jujutsu, are more ancient. And so a samurai would have been trained in jujutsu. He would have been trained in it wouldn't be like because in the modern sense, we kind of choose one usually, unless you're like really into martial arts. But I'll do Aikido, for instance, and you do Iaido, so you really perfect the artistic movement of Batto Jutsu and putting the sword back and striking from the scabbard or the saya. And then maybe you'll do Kyujutsu, or Kyudo in the modern sense, and you learn how to use the bow. A samurai would have been professional in everything, all of these. So these are all smaller components of what a real Japanese samurai would have been proficient in. And with the difference that his versions wouldn't have been focused on inner spiritual development or artistic, beautiful elegance together with martial prowess. Not for a samurai would have been the version of what is the maximum amount of bodies that I can cut into pieces in the battlefield. So while a spiritual aspect to it was part of it because of Confucian and Buddhist knowledge in connection with the idea of even if I die, it doesn't matter, and all that kind of stuff. I need to be ready, and that kind of, for sure. But the focus would have been onto something that works and something that is the most effective thing that I can do. And I would say that would be the distinction between the jutsu version or component of a Japanese martial art and the do version that is mostly created during the time of peace. So that's what I would say. Spaghetti westerns are a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah, we used to watch them with my dad. Lapko Makarev says, Dear Metatron, have you got an ant problem? Do they like exploring old electronics? Yeah, actually, I don't know if I have I used to have an ant problem and I took care of it. I did see an ant walking around this. It's a 90s ant, I guess. So we do have an ant on my computer tonight. So if I see her again, I don't want to kill her. I don't like killing. I'll just brush it off. So they go somewhere else. And that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I did see the ant. How did you see the ant? Was it here? Was it on the mic? How did you see the ant? Man, you guys are detectives. Holy moly. Lapko, thank you. There is a great jousting scene in the 67 Italian western I Giorni dell'Ira, Days of Anger, or Days of Ire, if you want to. You do have that word in English. Lee Van Cleef and Benito Stefanelli ride at each other whilst muzzle-loading rifles. Oh, goodness gracious. It's on YouTube, 2-minute scene. Very cool. I don't know if it's going to get copy claim, though. I mean, it's 67. Probably not. Very cool, though. I'll check it out. Definitely check it out. I learned Japanese sarcastically to make fun of it. That's funny. Favorite food after Italian? I assume since you're Italian. Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, Italian would be my favorite. But the second, I actually really like American food. Like, give me a burger with fries. I freaking love it. But if not, I really like Japanese cuisine. Probably be my second with ramen. And my third would be maybe Mexican food. It was on the mic. Oh, that's funny. Hey, he wanted to join the stream. That's fine. I'm happy to have a guest on the stream. We can build up a panel then. Oh, the ant was on the mic. That's funny. Is it still on the mic? No. If the ant is on the mic, that's fine. We don't discriminate. I'm not a racist against ants. I'm all for ant representation. All right, the video is ready to go. Let me see if I can add so we can post it. We can post it, guys. I feel like I'm posting together with you. It's like a communal exercise at this point, isn't it? Fighting the algorithm. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we fight against the algorithm together. Because whenever you, like, comment, leave, and all that stuff that influencers ask you to do, you are literally helping out to fight the beast that the algorithm is. And so I think it's appropriate, very apt, in fact, to say we. Meta identifies as an ant. Hey, I might. You never know. Who are you to say I'm not an ant? All right. Cool stuff. I'm posting the video on the second. In 3, 2, 1. Did I spell it right? Because you're lovely like that. You're going to... Well, even if I made a spelling mistake, I'm going to leave it in so people will comment. And I'll get engagement. So whatever. Cool. All right, we posted on the second channel. Lovely. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it. Okay, cool stuff. Good stream. All right, well, I think I'm going to call it a night for the stream. And thank you very much. The videos will be edited, and tomorrow we're going to post. So make sure to come check tomorrow and support the post that came from this video. And if you did miss the first part of the stream, when we debunked the lies of Professor Dave, the toxic Professor Dave, I double down on that, then it will be fully edited tomorrow in a snappier fashion, and you will find it. You can watch it. You can subscribe to it. You can, whatever the heck that we want to do, and interact with it and leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching, guys, and thank you for all the support and the subscriptions. We'll see you tomorrow for the video, but on Monday for the next stream. Have a good one. Thank you. Look forward to it. Oh, it's going to be great. Trust me, brother, it's going to be great. Thank you very much. I'm going to close Rumble first. How many people do we have on Rumble tonight? I didn't even look. But thank you guys for being there. So I'm going to close Rumble in 3, 2, 1. Thank you. And then we're going to do YouTube next. Thank you so much. Thank you for the stream. A great stream. I appreciate you. I'm glad you appreciated it. In 3, 2,